a unique All-Ireland final, or maybe just the first of its kind. New rules, old rules, whether going for title number 39 or just the third ever. There's nothing quite like this day and what it can inspire in a county and its people.
And so the great moment has come.
A final pairing, I think, that very few of us had anticipated seeing when this championship began.
But they do have some things in common. Their county colours and the coastline along the west of our country.
There's certainly a level of fanaticism abroad in Donegal.
And the giants of football from Kerry.
If you don't deliver an All-Ireland in a year, it's a failure. We need to earn the right to wear that Kerry jersey.
The noise is deafening. Great sense of expectation among the fans.
Oh, a goal in the greatest streak of all time.
Has put it over the bar.
Goal! Clinical from Sheffield.
Rachel O'Brien, what do you think it
He
is?
has been on fire.
Michael Langer for Donegal. Opportunity here. And Kerry respond within seconds.
It can be a moment of genius, it can be a high ball into the square, a goal, something can change the game, the dynamic of the game.
This is a mean, resolute Donegal.
The champions.
Anthony Malloy, who retired, who came back.
The belief into Donegal is Jim McGuinness.
We know Kerry's record against Ulster teams.
And Kerry have dethroned the champion.
Kerry lads come to Croke Park with enough, they're dangerous.
Absolute cracker.
Two best teams of the year. It's going to be a fascinating tussle.
Get ready for the battle of the wild Atlantic Way.
Flasks and tinfoil at the ready. Trains, planes, road. Dublin City has been steadily filling up across the weekend. It looks pretty full now, and it's never just those from the competing counties either who love to make this trek for All-Ireland final day. There are those from all over who never miss it, regardless of who's playing, assuming, of course, they can get their hands on a ticket. For only the second time in history, Kerry and Donegal meet in the All-Ireland football final, throwing in at 3:30. And today's final brings us a much newer history, watched by Peter, Lee and Tomás. Tomás, a new history between these two teams, but spicy at times, is it?
I wouldn't say spicy as ever. I think at this stage of the championship, anytime we go toe-to-toe with Ulster teams, it's always spicy, Joanne. But I think there's a healthy respect there. I think there's always a connection with us in Donegal in relation to the Irish language and the music, but the football trumps everything. And the whole backdrop of Kerry, where they were midway through the season, coupled with what happened after that, and then you have Jim and Murphy and all that, it makes for a huge final. It's a huge occasion. There's a great atmosphere around the place for the last 2 days, so we're looking forward to it.
Lee, he started full Kerry. He's already begun that way.
At least they travelled. I know. No, it's brilliant. The atmosphere, the occasion, there's a real sense of occasion today, and with the new rules, it feels this game has been elevated. I feel this year's final in particular, there's been a great hype about it in the build-up this week. I know we only have a week outside the hurling to football, but the talk around different subplots, the McGuinness, O'Connor, Clifford, Murphy, who's going to do this, contrast in style. So I do think what Tom said, I think we have the game we all wanted and craved, and it's the right way to finish the year.
Elevated All-Ireland final. Do you think this will feel that little bit more special to these teams?
Look, it's always special, and it's great to be surrounded by Donegal supporters here on an All-Ireland final day. But look, we've the two best teams in the country playing. We've the two best managers possibly. I think we definitely have the two best footballers, not only this year but maybe of their generation, coming head-to-head against other. So it's a wonderful occasion, a lot to look forward to. Look, it could go either way, two teams, and you can have strong arguments for either team coming out on top. But as the boys say, we just hope that it lives up to all expectation and that we have a cracker.
Well, see, that is the thing, and you're not entirely sure that could be the case, are you, Lee?
No, I suppose either team won't care what the spectacle is like. We're just praying that we get it. I do agree, Peter, we do have the best teams because they're in the final, obviously, but in terms of McGuinness, we know he's shrewd enough in terms of how Donegal want to set up and play, and if there's a sniff of Kerry getting away at some stage, you can be sure Donegal will kill the game any way they can. So that could unfortunately lead to not having the game that we all want and crave. But listen, they don't care. They just want the result. They want the medal, and that's all that matters at the end of it.
A big day for you as well, Tomás. So you're part of the Jubilee celebrations. You'll be leaving us for a little while very, very shortly. What's the weekend already been like meeting up with that set of former players?
Brilliant. We met up last night. We're not a team that stay in touch that regularly at all. So a lot of fellas we met up with last night, hadn't seen him in a long time, but the crack was 90. Walked in and within 2 or 3 minutes back into the old stories. We were like 10-year-olds laughing and joking about stories that you couldn't mention anywhere, not to mind where we were, but it was inside in a small tight room, and that atmosphere, we were upstairs a while ago, that atmosphere is still there. There's a few lads that aren't with us anymore. We think of them today, but we had great times, Joanne. It is only now really that you'd appreciate those kind of things.
Okay, we're going to let you wander off a little while to join your former teammates. We don't have a bad replacement for the duration while Tomas is gone, because Jim Gavin is going to come in and speak with us about what's happening with the Football Review Committee and where these new rules are going. In the meantime, while we make our way inside to alongside the pitch, we're going to hear from 2 Donegal players who are going to feature this afternoon. Both, one of whom who already has a Celtic cross in his pocket, one who joined a tad too late to get it, but both men who hail from one of the most scenic clubs in the entire country.
The people back at home, we've done it for the whole of Donegal.
James McHugh. And that's sailed over the bar. Martin McHugh fires it over the bar.
When you start, Paddy.
20 years on, they've won another.
It's a huge day for Kilcar. We're fortunate enough in '92 we had 2 people on the team. In 2012 we had 2 people on the team, and in 14 we had 2 people on the team, and thankfully now we have 3 people in the squad. So it's a huge GA background in Kilcar, and thankfully we're getting an opportunity to play in 2 weeks' time with each other again.
Donegal are ultimate champions again. It's their 12th title, and this title means so much to Jim McGuinness. He's written about it in his book.
You know, he's come in and he's lifted the standards around the place. You know, there's been a buzz around the county from day one, and obviously he's had the results to back it up as well. You know, back-to-back Ulster titles and getting so close last year in the All-Ireland semi-final. But you know, back in another final now, and we're back where we want to be.
They have had a thoroughly convincing semi-final victory over the Royals.
It's what you train for. It's what you when you're growing up. That's what you dream of doing. Is hopefully getting to the pinnacle of your sport, and the pinnacle of our sport is an All-Ireland medal. Unfortunately, haven't got there yet, so I haven't. But we'll be doing everything, and not just my power, but the whole squad and the whole team's power to get that in Sunday week.
And here comes Paddy McBrearty. Player going off is Michael Murphy.
Well, I think every player would love to start, but obviously you have to think of the bigger picture sometimes, and you know, I'm up against 3 really good players there in the full forward line.
Here's McBrearty, get it on the left. First opportunity since coming on, the usual result.
I am enjoying the role. You know, the game is different now. The game's more opened up when I do come in, and obviously it worked for Armagh last year. Their squad probably did win them the All-Ireland, and you know, it could win the game in Sunday week.
It will be a repeat of the 2014 All-Ireland final in just 2 weeks' time. Jim McGuinness's team will be back against the Kingdom.
There is talk of 2014, you know, the rivalry there. They got the better of us that day, but you know, it's the 2 teams in 2025 basically at the end of the day, and you know, there's 2 teams mad to win the All-Ireland, and you know, we're one of them, and you know, they've some exceptional players there, and the likes of the Cliffords, O'Shea and Joe O'Connor and Tom O'Sullivan, the likes. So you know, whoever, you know, implements their game plan best in the day is probably going to get over the line.
An 8th All-Ireland final for Kerry under Jack O'Connor. He does have more wins than losses at this stage, but only just, and most of his players have been here before. 2 years ago in defeat to Dublin, and 3 years ago when we saw 2 of the all-time great individual performances in an All-Ireland final. And that was under the old rules. Donegal have had to wait 11 years to get back, and it is the same man who's brought them there as well. Jim McGuinness, though, isn't the only crucial return to this panel. Today we have 2 of the most influential footballers any counter has ever produced on display on the biggest stage of all. But on days like today, more often than not, it can be a lesser name that can prove to be the key to victory. It just seems set up so perfectly. The All-Ireland final coming up at 3:30, and then Man of the Match, Team of the Year, a visit to the Winners' Hotel, all coming up on the Sunday game from 9:30. First though, out to Jones's Road to Marty.
Thank you very much, Joanne. Welcome here to Jones's Road, where the excitement is building up to the All-Ireland Football Final 2025. I'm joined by 2 greats of the game of football, Jack O'Shea of Kerry and Manus Boyle of Donegal. The Donegal crowd are singing already. I was in Donegal last night with Kilcar, Manus. The atmosphere is electric.
Yeah, I think it's been, you know, 14 was a big disappointment. The people's got on board. There's a new generation here. You can see all the young faces here, so it's a new generation. To be fair, Donegal just went mad after the Meath game. Since Jim came back, that wee bit of belief, that wee bit of spirit came back, and it's great to see it. Forgotten by many others, but not this week.
No, absolutely not. Jack O'Shea, there's a few Kerry people around, aren't there?
Oh, well, they usually come up about 3 o'clock, they'd ramble up, but yeah, it's fantastic. It's an unbelievable day. It's a fantastic day as a player to be involved in an All-Ireland final. To get to walk behind that band is unique, and I'm sure all the players are a bit nervous now at the moment, but that'll all go when they get out onto the pitch. And look, we have a fantastic day, fantastic conditions, lovely breeze, keep the fellas cool. So I'm looking forward to a fantastic battle, yeah.
Talk to me about the game plan here, because people are expecting Kerry to have a long ball game, getting the long ball from Paddy Clifford or Joe Connor into David Clifford and company. Would you expect the same?
I expect the same, but I think this game will be won and lost in breaks. I think around the middle of the field is vital who can pick up the breaks, because both teams are very important going forward. They have good forward lines and that. Kerry will try to get the ball in fast, no doubt, but Donegal will as well. They have good inside forwards as well. So I think it's an intriguing clash, and it'll be down to who'll turn up in the day, Marty. That's what All-Ireland finals are all about.
You turned off often enough yourself, I can tell you. Manus, your depth of talent has been a factor, and you have the players to come on, Paddy McBrearty, Jason McGee, whoever else that Jim McGuinness decides. Are you expecting the panel to play a big part of the game today?
I would be surprised if the 5 wouldn't be used, the likes of Darragh O'Boyle, Jimmy Brennan, Jason McGee, and especially Paddy. If things aren't going well up front, what a better servant to take in than Paddy. Once he gets it onto that left foot, he'll do damage. But I expect a lot of hard work in the Donegal defence to keep a couple of lads very, very quiet.
Who's going to mark David Clifford? What's the word in Donegal?
I would think it would be Brendan McCall. Yeah.
And David Clifford, he is special, isn't he, Jack?
Oh, he's one of a player of a lifetime, really. And I think even the Donegal people are coming here today to watch him play on the pitch, and hopefully he performs, and hopefully all the players, Marty, put in their best performance. We want to see every player perform, and every player wants to do his best in All-Ireland final today, and hopefully that will happen.
Well, Jack O'Shea and indeed Manus Boyle, thank you both for joining us, because it's very special here on Jones's Road. We're a good bit away from the throw-in at half-3, but the atmosphere is electric. The question is, will Kerry win the All-Ireland? Wait for this. Will Donegal win the All-Ireland? Donegal gets the Jones's Road vote, but we'll see what happens between the white lines. Back to you, Joanne.
Well, there's a man with us who knows just whether or not a vote like that counts for anything in Jim Gavin, with all those All-Irelands he won with Dublin. But we have you here, Jim, of course, because this is our first All-Ireland final under these new rules. But there's still rules that are under trial, which people might well forget. So how important is this day today, do you think?
Yeah, this is a really important day, Joanne. You know, it's the 99th game in the senior inter-county championship this season, but it's not the only gig in town. You know, we do have club leagues and club activity going place, and championships will take place quite soon. But this is I suppose this year, Joanne, it's the most comprehensive review that the GAA have ever done on Gaelic football and the analysis on it. So, like, what we're seeing is that the things that people wanted to see, you know, one-to-one contests, high fielding, long-range scores, goals and high fielding, that's all on show, and hopefully we get some of that today.
Isn't it quite interesting, for all the changes that have been brought in with those aims in mind, that we have two teams today who play very different brands of football?
Yeah, and that's what we wanted to see with we from the football review committee perspective. You know, there is no right or wrong way to play the game, so they have to be designed to allow ingenuity, innovation, and for players to express themselves, whether it's a running style like Donegal, because that is their DNA, or it's a kicking style like Kerry, because that is their DNA. So that's the pleasing thing about it, Joanne, that we're not just seeing a quick copy and paste, that each team has its own unique strengths, and I'm sure today they want to maximise those.
Lee?
Just, I suppose, for me, I think I was saying earlier, I think the game is elevated because of the rules. Would you have foreseen the kind of the response and the feedback that you would have seen in your first year, given the nature of where we were to where we are now?
Yeah, I suppose, like, when you look at the group that we have, they've all been involved heavily in the game, Lee, and the thing for us is that they're working as we conceive them to be. I think the thing that was impressive for me was last November when 300 people in that room inside there in Croke Park, the Special Congress, took a very brave step to go down a path that maybe they didn't really understand, but they had faith in the FRC, and we're just delighted that it's working and that people are enjoying football again.
And then I suppose from a review committee, is there certain aspects of the game going forward that you maybe foresee that maybe tweaked again, or do you feel it's in a really good position from what you've seen from the games this year?
Yeah, like it's in a very strong position, but they are only temporary rules, and I need to say that. Yeah. So if people like what they see, the club members, the survey closes next Thursday, the 31st. That evening we're going to meet the referees panel to review the championship. Then we'll look at those comments, and then people do have an opportunity, Joanne, to even talk to myself and Peter and the guys in the FRC at ga.ie, or send a letter to us at care of Gerard Burns in Croke Park at Dublin 3, and we'll look at everything, because we have to produce a report in August that will go to the Central Council, and then it'll be voted upon on the 4th of October. And if people want to see the rules go forward, the parent rule change, they've got to let their club members know, or the club administration know, so the counties then can vote on them in October.
Jim, first of all, you have no idea how excited Joanne is to have you here with us, because she's been raving about these rules from the start of the summer, and I'm so glad you're here for her to ask you a few questions.
You're just delighted the heat has taken off you, Peter.
No, not at all. Just a couple of points that I would like to make to you when you're here. The role of the FRC post-Congress after they make their decision, and secondly, I think we can all accept the new rules have gone very well. Would that ever tempt Jim Gavin back into management? There are two questions there for you.
Yeah. So the first question, one at a time. So on the 4th of October, Peter, you'd be glad to know I won't be emailing anymore. No WhatsApps, no meetings on the late Monday night. We're finished. Our work is done. We pulled the
so you are done completely once these go through or do not go through Congress?
We've met our terms of reference. We've produced a report. It's on time. We can all see what they're doing. And then after that evening on the 4th of October, Joanne, we'll all know whether they're permanent rule change. Now, we do have a committee called the Standing Committee on Playing Rules, chaired by Liam Keane from Meath. That body is set up to see how rules are being implemented and enacted. So, I think one of our recommendations might be that, there's an expert group feeding into Liam and his... I'm on that committee as well, feeding into it to see, do we need to, keep up the speed? Because this is the first season. Let coaches and players review it next year, and they might crack the code, and we might need to make further adjustments. But to answer your question, Lee, we're in a very strong place, and we're very conscious not making too many changes in the short term.
Sir, just before we go on, and we won't let you get away with not answering the second question from Peter there, but we are looking at this absolutely outstanding Kerry team from 2000, including two of our own men in there. You can see Tomas alongside Eamon in this. It's such an incredible team. 2000 with victory over a really strong Galway team on a replay as well. Look at all those players.
I was at it, and some exceptional players there. Tomas looks like a wee cub, and among them there, Dara has wintered a wee bit better than he has. But look, some fantastic footballers there, absolutely.
When you look at that, Joanne, you've got Seamus Moynihan, captain, Pádraig Joyce, the other captain of Galway, that great Galway team. Sean O'Godone, the good friend there, just behind you. So they had two great managers, Paddy O'Shea, John O'Mahony, God rest our souls, who are not with us today. And no more so in that game like today, Joanne. It's those two managers will create a game plan today to win. It's up to players like the likes of Dara O'Shea to execute it and to bring the Sam home.
Yeah, just at the O'Shea clan there, only two of them involved in 2000. Mark came along a little bit later on. Jim, while we await...
I think that's a collector's. That's Eamon Fitzmaurice kicking the ball over the bar. That's a collector's item there.
Is that the only time that happened?
I can never recall that happening anywhere else.
I think Eamon will say that was a two-pointer.
a key moment in the game. Jim, before we do find out whether or not you intend to go back into management, I just want to go back to what you were talking about, the standing committee on rules, because this is going to be really key, isn't it? So within Congress, rule changes can only happen obviously every 5 years, but it's different with the committee. Is that the case?
Okay, so just to clarify that, so every 5 years the units, as in the clubs, can only propose changes to rules. In those 5 years, the Standing Committee on Playing Rules, as we've seen, say, the kick-out mark, when it was introduced, Gerard was on the Standing Committee on Playing Rules, and that was introduced in that gap. So it's not quite true to say it's only every 5 years. It's for the unit. So our belief is that the Standing Committee on Playing Rules needs to be agile enough, Joanne, to, if they see that the game needs to change, not to wait for another FRC to come around in 2035 to make changes as necessary.
You were due to have sandbox games this weekend. Why is that? Were you looking at different potential changes?
Yeah, like nothing is agreed until it's agreed. Like this is all, you know, they're temporary rules.
Is it possible you could put forward other potential changes?
That is possible. So next Wednesday night we have Round Towers of Clondalkin playing Fingallions of Swords at 7:30 in Abbottstown to look at more, you know, things feedback that we're getting through surveys.
Like what?
Let's see you next Wednesday.
Well, it's going to be on next Wednesday. What sort of things are you looking at? Is there
obviously the 4-point goal. Yeah. We're looking at some suggestions have been that if a team crosses the halfway line that they can't go back. So look at Louth in the Leinster final against Meath, where they brought the ball back into their own half, and some suggestions that it might encourage teams to push out if they know the team can't go back into its own half. So these are only things like, I don't want to, you know, have people concerned there's going to be a radical change. Our job as an FRC is to do as much research as we can and in the time that we're given. So we have to produce a report for Congress, for Central Council in early September. So like, we're going to be writing it in a couple of weeks' time, so we're at the very final stages now.
Are you confident that these will pass through Congress and that all of them will?
I just don't know. You know, we're not going to take anything for granted. We're going to do our work. It's not up to us to vote, Peter or myself or Eamon. We produce the evidence, produce the data, the quantitative and qualitative analysis, produce our benefit realisation model to say this is what we see. Are we accruing the benefits that we wanted to realise with these rule changes? I think for the most part you would say yeah. But nonetheless, those 300 members of Special Congress need to vote either kneel or thaw on the 4th of October, and obviously from the committee's perspective, we want to see it in pass.
There's an opportunity there for club members across all levels to have their view, and certainly the feedback that I'm getting, be it from officials and club members, has been very positive. So get onto the survey, get it, and maybe make it a bit easier for the Congress.
So Peter's getting self-praise. So.
2 brief questions before you go. His second question, whether it'll tempt you back.
Yeah, so inter-county is finishing me. I mean, I had a great time. I did, you know, did it 12 consecutive years with 13, 6 with 21s and 7 with the senior team. You know, I've got a very, very busy job. I had great time and great players to work with. So inter-county, no. At club level, absolutely. With my son's teams.
You broke our heart.
Yeah, with my son's teams, you know, still want to be involved as long as he wants to be involved.
And who are going to be 2025 All-Ireland football champions?
Oh, that's such a difficult question. I'm going to make economists look good here by trying to make that forecast. Like the way I see it is, you know, statistically, I think Donegal are slightly ahead. You know, in terms of kick-out retention, shots created, 35 in most games, most points they're getting. To counter that, you know, Kerry, you know, are winning probably more opposition kick-outs and are obviously scoring more goals as well. And that's a big threat today. So, like the 2 evenly matched teams, I think Kerry, you know, they have had a harder run-in against Tyrone and beat the All-Ireland champions in Armagh. Donegal obviously against Monaghan and Meath, no disrespect to those 2 counties, but Kerry had to have a tougher run in. Like, it's very difficult. I go back to the point I made about Paddy and John O'Mahony. Jim McGuinness and Jack O'Connor, 2 great managers, All-Ireland medalists in the back pocket. They will have a game plan designed to win the game. I've no doubt about that. It comes down to what players are going to execute it in the pressure cauldron of an All-Ireland final, as we know. So Mickey Hart produced a game plan, and he brought you, Peter, back in 2005. Philip Jordan kicked a phenomenal ball inside of 65 to Muggsy, who gave you a beautiful hand pass, and you put the ball in the back of the net. Peter did it. Mickey's a great manager, had that ingenuity to bring Peter back on, and you'll see lots of that today. It's the players who are going to win the game. So Michael, Murphy, McBurty, McHugh, the Cliffords, O'Shea's, they're the guys that are going to win the game. So, as I said, opening up, we're looking at our 9-9 game. I won't be surprised if we're back here in 2 weeks' time looking at our 100 game of the All-Ireland Series of 2025.
Jim Gavin, thank you very much for coming on with us this afternoon. And there is today going to be a huge emphasis, of course, on Sean Patton, but what the man in the Kerry goal does is likely to be just as important. Shane Ryan, Igora, Hamas.
And Ryan pushes it onto the post. Cronin with the follow-up. Ryan with the double save.
Kelly's there. Kelly's going for it. Oh, great save. Struck it smartly, but Shane Ryan equal to it.
Darren McCurry. Brilliant save from Shane Ryan.
Shane, we're here on Kerry Press Day, and I'm going to tell you a little story there. The way we used to deal with press days back in the day, I remember Jack, who's with you now, asking me to do a press day like this, and I had to be in the Malton Hotel after training. and I didn't want to do it at all. So I shot straight for Cork. I didn't go down to the malt, and I rang Jack before he rang me because I knew I'd be in trouble, and I said, Jack, I'm outside the Gleneagle Hotel here. For the last 40 minutes, there was nobody there, so I shot off home. No, Jack didn't. You don't mind doing press days?
They're all right. Look, they're fine, I suppose. It's great to be involved in our Ireland final, so you take the good with the bad, I suppose.
Your shot stopping has been outstanding. Is it something you're focusing on, and it happens, like?
Yeah, it's definitely something we're focusing on. Would I say we're focusing more than other years? No, but I suppose I'm probably getting more opportunities this year to kind of show off my shot stopping, because as you say, it's 11v11. There's more one-on-one battles. Teams are getting opened up. The nature of the game this year is that it's just absolutely chaotic at times, like. Yeah. And, you know, there will be a man bearing down top you. I'm not sure how many shots I got in other years, or what's the shot per game ratio or anything like that, but I seem to be getting a little bit more of them this year. And look, you're just trying to, I suppose, make yourself as difficult to beat as possible for the forward end, like.
The new rules from a goalie's perspective, what's your take on it? Good or bad?
I suppose I kind of said this always throughout my career, that goalkeepers get too much credit when things are going right, and too much blame when things are going wrong. Do you know what I mean? And it's definitely made it tougher, because, you know, there was times last year and the last couple of years teams drop off you. So you might get 30% of your kickouts uncontested, cornerback, away we go. I suppose there's less controlled plays than there was in previous years. So therefore, you actually don't have a chance to kind of get your breath. Even as a defensive unit, it's kind of like house on fire, put out fires everywhere. Right, we're attacking now. From a goalkeeper perspective, it's a bit annoying that you're relinquishing control. But if I put my J hat on, you know, from a supporter's perspective, like, the entertainment value's gone through the roof because of it.
The Meath game was a defining match for Kerry, wasn't it? Was that the turning point for you as a group? Because since then, it's like a switch has gone off.
Yeah, I suppose it wasn't, because I thought we played a lot of good football leading up to Meath, even in the league as well. Yeah. And we've played a lot of good football since. There was definitely areas in the Meath game we were very disappointed with. And I think it was more a case of trying to get back to basics a small bit.
The Donegal challenge, and I know there's only 2 weeks to prepare, but is this a different type of a challenge than what you faced in the last 2 games?
Certainly, yeah. I think Donegal have just so many threats from all over the field. They're obviously hugely athletic, and they were probably one of the favourites from the outset of the league this year. We're just trying to back ourselves while knowing that Donegal have a lot of threats, and you're just trying to, I suppose, get the balance there between playing your game and stopping them playing their game. But I think it's going to make for a titanic battle, and I think it's something that I'm looking forward to. I think the whole country's looking forward to as well.
I don't know, do you know this, but a couple of years ago, after Kerry won the All-Ireland, I needed to borrow the cup for a day, and I had to go over to your house and your dad, and we didn't have too deep a conversation, but I picked and I sensed off him how proud he was of what you were after achieving. You're representing them as well, like. That's huge to you, like.
It's massive, and something I take great pride in, Tomas. You know, I started out when I was 6 years of age above in Rabig, you know, similar to yourself in Gallerus. And, you know, I'll probably be buried in Rathmore as well. Like, and, you know, that's where I'm going to finish up playing football as well. And I have some very close friends in Rathmore, and I'm very conscious, too, that a lot of people in the club and a lot of my family have put serious time into me, you know, driving me around the country. We make sacrifices, but people around us probably make more sacrifices than us. So without them, we wouldn't probably be able to perform to the level that we're able to.
It's huge, because on Sunday, when you're tagging out, there'll be another Rathmore man on the pitch before the game, because it's 25 years ago to the 2000 team when Declan O'Keefe was there. So it's a big day for Rathmore anyway, and Tom Sullivan there as well. So look, all I'll say, Shane, is good night, Relat, and I'm hoping that in 25 years there'll be another Rathmore man on the pitch.
Please,
so
thanks
best of luck.
Thanks, man. So, man, gentlemen.
Just have a look at this on the roads outside Croke Park. Funny enough, when we had just done talking outside where the museum is in the Cusack stand, I was speaking to a young girl from Kerry and asked her what did she think, and she was very concerned about the large numbers of fans from Donegal and the difference they might make. It's hard to tell with colours, of course. And by the way, Tomich Bionish Koma Oscailga Air Serview, Air Norty News Channel, August Air Norty player Le Grogna. But as you can see there, the Kerry team are on their way out, making their way out onto the famous pitch here in Croke Park. no changes to their starting 15 today. There is, though, a late change to how their opponents are going to line up as well, because, and this had been well touted as a possibility because he is fit again, and Caelan McGonigal will start for Donegal. Hugh McFadden is the man he is going to replace in the middle of the field, but of course that does raise interesting questions as to where Tomás O'Shea, who's back with us now, as to where perhaps McGonigal might go and what differences that might make to the midfields.
Yeah, well, I think Joe O'Connor probably plays that role. He plays a wing forward, but he's out around the middle of the park with Sean O'Brien and Mark O'Shea, so you'd be imagining and guessing that Kieran Thompson will come out around the middle and Caelan McGonigal might go on Joe O'Connor and pick him up and negate his influence on the ball. But Michael Langan is also a huge concern from a Kerry point of view, Joanne, and anytime Kerry are not in possession, you can be sure that Sean O'Brien and Mark O'Shea will tag him as well.
How big a boost is that for Donegal to have McGonigal Lee available again?
It's huge. I would agree with Tom. I think he will shackle or try to shackle Joe O'Connor because his influence has been huge for Kerry this year, particularly in the third quarter where he's come on, he's kicked his points, but it's also his turnovers. And I think someone like Caelan McGonigal, who's fit, who's strong, and will have the legs from throughout the game as well.
Yeah, both managers had big calls to make prior regarding their first 15. Jim has made the call by playing McGonigal. Likewise, Jack O'Connor, I'm sure, was tempted to play Dermot O'Connor in midfield, so he's resisted that temptation. But I'll be very surprised if we don't see him later on in the game.
It was funny, we did see a shot of Jack there speaking with Mark O'Shea, presumably relaying the news, you would imagine.
I wouldn't bet on that.
No, would you not be told before that there are changes to the opposition?
What Mark O'Shea were you talking about?
Well, not Tomás's little brother.
I'd imagine, Joanne, that they would have had that team maybe 10 minutes ago. There's a time that the teams have to be in, so Kerry will know exactly, and they would have probably discussed that during the week, what if Caelan McGonigal was going to start or where he was going to start. To be honest with you, I thought he was going to come into the back line and one of the backs was be down with it, but no. I'd say we'll hear the Donegal crew now roaring.
Still, it's a massive call to make. McFadden has been playing really well, and the aerial battles very strong. But I am presuming Jim is concerned about the running power of Joe O'Connor, and Caelan McGonigal as well would be well able to keep up with him, or at least Jim thinks that.
You can hear why it was that young support from Kerry was a little concerned about the noise. It certainly sounds, Tomás, like you are well outnumbered in the stands.
Yeah, I heard it there. Kerry people don't get too excited early on in the game anyway, Joanne, so I'd hope to Christ that they come excited towards the end of the game, hopefully, if we're still in it. But yeah, there's always a huge crowd with Donegal, but the atmosphere that's there, Joanne, not only... It's all week. It's absolutely brilliant, and it'll only get better from here on in.
Well, we have two of football's biggest names, of course, who are marshalling the sidelines, and this is not their first rodeo. Jack O'Connor did league and championship doubles on his first go as Kerry manager back in 2004 and 2006. Then when he came back again in 2009, and when he began his third reign 3 years ago. Jim McGuinness says he thought about the 2014 All-Ireland final defeat every single day until he returned as Donegal manager ahead of last year. Unfinished business then, but he's now just one win away from doing what he did 13 years ago, making his county All-Ireland champions.
Donegal are the winners of the semi-final. It will be a repeat of the 2014 All-Ireland final. Jim McGuinness's team will be back against the Kingdom, led by Jack O'Connor.
I think for the players there is a challenge there, you know, because it is Kerry, and for many counties the Kerry jersey puts a sense of fear, a sense of dread into them anyway. And then on a basic, you know, practical level, you're facing a team that's playing their third final in 4 years. They've huge experience of Croke Park. They've got huge experience of All-Ireland final day and winning. It's brilliant to be there, but as I said to the players, and it's the best day of your life if you win it, and it's probably one of the worst days of your life if you lose it. You know, that's just the way it is.
They have a lot of weapons and a lot of pace and mobility right throughout their team. No obvious weaknesses, so it'll take a huge performance from us to keep pace with them. He seems to influence the game. He's just one of the all-time great players, really. He's a lot of football played, but he still has the head for it, and that sometimes gets you from A to B a lot quicker than if you're a sprinter, you know. He's a big influence, and he's obviously their general on the field. Every year is a different challenge, and this year with the new rules, do you know, that freshened the whole thing up, and I think coaches and players got a new lease of life, because you know, it just breathed a bit of life back into the game. I think the game was being suffocated, and this has breathed a bit of life back into it, and that's great in itself, and it brought great freshness. I think that the season is so intense that it's very, very hard to keep the shoe to the floor all the time. We didn't want to let the season fizzle out, you know, after the Meath game. We weren't great here in Killarney against Cavan either. So I think going into the game, we were probably in a perfect spot to perform because expectations were lowered. We were looked upon as kind of cannon fodder really for Armagh, you know, who were going very well. We always felt we might catch a spark if we got back to Croke Park, and I think that's what happened.
Here's a goal chance, surely! Who else? Who else but David Clifford?
We're in the process of that, if you like, trying to come up with a plan. But listen, he's so excited the way he plays, and he's just been electric this year. He's a real live wire, showing unbelievable leadership and skill levels and all of those things. You know, when you're talking about players and there's marquee players, and I think Poddy for me is an exceptional player. Sean O'Shea, an exceptional player. Those players are elite inter-county players, and David is probably. He may well be, you know, one of the best or the best that has ever played the game. Certainly the challenge is formidable from that point of view, and we'll have to try and manage that as best we can. So you're facing David and you're facing the prospect of Kerry that know their way around an All-Ireland final. But at the same time, our fellas have to understand that there's an opportunity for them as well, and that they have to try and go out and take that opportunity as well and express themselves and play the way that they know that they can play and try their best to get that level out of themselves. And I think if we do that, you know, then, as I say, you're in that battle, you're in that mix, and we'll roll with the punches then, you know.
Those interviews were done about a week and a half ago on the press nights, and Jim McGuinness said there, Peter, that, oh, sure, we're only 2 days into it. We haven't got any plan in place yet for dealing with David Clifford. How long do you reckon he's been planning to deal with David Clifford?
It could well be before the Meath game. Knowing Jim, he would have been very confident that they would have defeated Meath. But look, he has 2 weeks to prepare. I think he'll be using the other games very well. In terms of stopping David Clifford, that's the big question. That's what everybody wants to know, how Donegal are going to do it. Armagh sat back in numbers and to the detriment of the players out the pitch. Throne, there's man-marking jobs, but this is David Clifford's goal. We have players back, we have 2 players back, and we could have prevented the ball from being played into that space. I think Donegal will have a greater clarity of purpose and will have players getting back in there to support Brendan McCole. This is the second half. Con Kilpatrick is sitting in front of Clifford there at the minute, but as soon as Clifford gets the ball, Con's out at the edge of the D, and now it's a one-on-one battle. He should be sitting back. Niall Devlin doing his job on Poddy, Peter Taig's doing his job on Sean O'Shea. So the other players need to get back and offer some support to the man marker. So that wasn't there for Throne. Look at Donegal, look at the clarity of purpose here from a kick-out where balls can be played quickly into the full back line. That's Ryan McHugh that I've highlighted. He comes sprinting straight back in so that when Meath in this case get the ball, they look up inside. Well, if they play it down this side, there are 2 Donegal players there, one to the left of the full forward, the other one to the right. If the ball goes over the top, Sean Patton's ready to bounce. So they have all angles covered. And my last example of what Donegal is going to do is coming from a free kick or a goal kick. Everybody's looking at the ball. I want you to look at the left of the screen. Look at those 2 players, totally out of the game, but they're sprinting back because if they lose the ball, they're going to protect the D. And in this case, they win the ball, and the man I've highlighted is Michael Langan, and transition's a word that's well used at the minute, turning defence into attack. 1 minute he's done defending his own D, next minute he's putting it on a plate for Oisin Gallen to kick over the bar, and there's the 2 players, Langan and Moore. A few seconds ago were sitting back in a really strong defensive shape, and then they're able to go forward. That sums up Donegal to me, their clarity of purpose and how they're going to defend against David Clifford here today.
But Peter, you don't have to look so far ago. If you look at the Dublin template from 2 years ago, though, you know, Mick Fitzsimons did a brilliant man-marking job, but it's the support cast around them that make them look better. And I do agree with you, that's where Donegal are exceptional. The work ethic from them, from the far side, it's like a pendulum going back and forth. If they get that right today and they get his influence, that's a big say in the game today.
Absolutely.
It reminded me a little bit of while you were gone when Jim Gavin was here to Moss. He said the managers will have their plans in place, but it's whether or not the players can execute them. Now, you were speaking with Shane Ryan there, we heard, and he said that goalkeepers get too much credit and they get too much blame. And we're going to focus in on them though. How massive a role do they play? Do we over-egg it?
Well, I think it's more than them, Joanne, but I think the battle for primary possession will decide this game, no matter what way you look at it. So what the goalies are going to do, Donegal can't do what they want to do without the ball. Likewise, Kerry can't do it. This is the Tyrone match. I don't know why teams don't push up. I'd imagine it's because of the threat that Clifford is down the other side. Tyrone pushed up on Kerry really hard in that first half and got 8 or 9 possessions. They couldn't capitalise. But if Donegal get the chances here, they opened Kerry up straight down the middle. It came over to Darren McCurry, a shot, he went for goal, possibly should have gone for a point. So that's an area I think Shane Ryan, he wants to go 3/4 ways. He doesn't want to go long. They don't want to put it up for grabs and make sure. It's an area that Kerry have worked so hard on. He's left, right. When cornerbacks get it, if there's nobody around them, they'll take him on, they'll drive out. Jason Foley has the speed, Gavin White, Brian Begley, excellent players coming on. Even when they do get it out, you see the movement from other players helping out. I think, Joanne, if Kerry, and I'll come to the point at the end, we know Kerry can press up. We know it. They went after Rafferty. Here, Paddy, it was outstanding. Not only did he get it in a position that he had to take on extra fellas and kick it over the bar, we know they can go after them. But if they go after Donegal today, there's one route that Patton is going to do. Here, Monaghan pushed up on Patton, and they bomb it straight over the top. And they have runners like Morgan, like McHugh, like Donald, like Kieran Moore. Here's Oisin Gallen that kicks it over the bar. So, in the last game, Donegal had 18 kickouts against Meath. They kicked 14 scores from those. So they're deadly when they're ball in hand. If you ask me what's going to win this, that's part of it. But when Donegal are ball in hand, it's what Kerry will do without the ball. And if they can get some of the Donegal kickouts where they actually plan to go after Patton and also their own kickouts, I think Kerry will win the match.
Do you think they'll push up on all of Donegal's kickouts?
No, I don't. I think you hear players talking about these momentum swingers where they sniff it, they go after it, and they keep going after it. I don't think they can, Peter. I think they're too much of a threat.
I agree,
but I think when they go after it, they should go after it gung-ho, because I'd before the season started, I'd have Rafferty, and Patton is outstanding, don't get me wrong, he's outstanding, but I've had Rafferty that little bit higher in terms of restarts. I've seen Patton at times, like Shane Ryan, every goalkeeper, so go after them.
We'll delve into that and other key moments like the David Clifford conundrum in a few minutes, but at the moment we're going to set us up a little bit further by going onto the pitch, where I have a feeling Damien might be looking a little on the small side at the moment.
I'm joined by two giants of the game, Mike Quirk and Eamon McGee. Thanks so much for coming down, lads. Mike, this game is so hard to separate the teams. Is there any area that could flip it on one side, in your opinion?
I think when you have a game as level as this with two really good teams, you look at who's the best player on the pitch, and I think Dave Clifford has been playing like the best player in the country this season. His form has been unbelievable. I think he might just be the guy, as predictable as an answer as that is, he might be the guy to tip it in the scales of Kerry.
And Eamon and David Clifford and Sean O'Shea have got about 63% of Kerry's scores this year. Is it too simplistic to say stop these two guys and you're halfway there?
No, it's not simplistic at all, and it's just a flip Mike's argument on his head. It'll be really interesting to see what Jim brings. Now, we know McCall's going to go to David Clifford, but what happens inside that zonal defence in terms of how do they protect McCall? We don't think it's going to be a 1v1 battle, and I think Keelan coming in, getting into the first 15 is crucial to that. In terms of protect McCall.
Have the Donegal public gone mad behind this team? It's an explosion of colour here today.
Oh, it's an unbelievable buzz now. We were kind of protected from it in 2012, 2014, but that should be in there, you know, the young ones there walking up the Jones Road and outside the Croke Park Hotel, and it's just an unbelievable buzz. You boys are used to it, Mike. We're trying to get to where you are at, but we'll take this every year.
You definitely didn't seem overly protected last week. Anyway, I can see you everywhere. It's great. Way to enjoy it.
Final question for you, Mike. Just in terms of this legacy of Jack O'Connor, you've worked with him, in very traditional man, but he has to maybe learn on the hoof as the years have gone on with various different teams. What will his experience be worth against Jim McGuinness, whose experience is crucial for Donegal also?
Yeah, and like Jack has over 20 titles, won from schools to minor to 20s to senior. He has an unbelievable record, and this win will put him at 5-3. It's an unbelievable record. His management, his experience, he's seen it all. I don't think Jim or Donegal can throw anything at him today that he hasn't seen already, and it'll be fascinating to see how they can deal with that.
Mike, Eamon, may the best team win. Thanks so much for your time. Back to you guys in the studio.
No worries.
Poor Damien. Now, in this new era of Gaelic football, might Championship 2025 end up proving to be a case of survival of the fittest?
Evolution is a slow process. A process that began many years ago and continues to this day. Our environment is constantly changing. And in order to survive, we must keep changing with it.
They had changed the seemingly unalterable course of history.
Changing just the right amount at just the right time. To not only survive, but prosper. Species become dominant.
Dublin are the history makers.
But nature always finds a way to move things along.
Spread the word nationwide.
And every so often, a new era sparks into life.
Lock and load. Get ready for this.
And more often than not, the results are quite spectacular.
The questions, all the questions, we're going to get them answered.
Oh, booming kick out.
That's a massive kick and a wonderful catch. What a catch. Beautiful fielding. Going for a two-pointer.
Outside the arc.
From a long way out. Going for two, and why not?
An exhibition of long-range shooting.
He's been scoring two-pointers for fun. Counter-attack at pace.
Such pace, such quickness.
They counter at frightening speed.
Great ball into the inside.
In around the back. Here's a goal chance. Surely.
There's a goal for the taking.
Here's another goal. Who else? Who else?
Absolute textbook Donegal.
And that's new football.
We're not long to go away now, sure we're not. So there's Brendan Cawley, his first All-Ireland final. Patrick McCreary and Gavin White into the toss. So Gavin with the win, and it looks like he has chosen to shoot into the Davin end, which many people refer to as the scoring end. We'll find out if that is true. In the meantime, let's get confirmation of both teams. The last man to lead Kerry to victory over Donegal in an All-Ireland final, Eamon Fitzmaurice, is with Darren Maloney.
Yes, Joanne Eamon back up from taking part in the Jubilee, a parade down on the pitch there with the Kerry team of 2000. Eamon, I know you enjoyed taking part in that, but looking out on the field, the teams, this warm-up, very extravagant warm-up routines by both panels, but every minute, from the minute those guys have woken up this morning until now, has been planned to the nth degree.
Absolutely, Darren, especially in the biggest day, because there's so many formalities and all of that, so they'll have gone through all that. It's all planned. But the ironic thing is then once the ball is thrown in, it's all about decision making, and particularly decision making in possession, and that could be critical as the game goes on today.
Yeah, we're looking out on that field. The sun is out. And, well, we had a little bit of drizzle earlier on. That was probably about 1:30, but the conditions absolutely beautiful and people still coming in to the stadium. Let's take a look at the two teams. Kerry appearing in their 63rd final. They're bidding for their 39th title. We've two brilliant goalkeepers on the field today. Shane Ryan in top form. At kick-out time, he's excellent off both feet and is one of the leaders of this Kerry team. He's had a very, very good year. Paul Murphy can be a kick-out option for Ryan, but the 33-year-old was man of the match in the 2014 final and has had another outstanding year in this defence. Jack O'Connor has had to deal with injuries to key players all year, and when Tyke Morley was out of the team, Mike Breen took his chance and hasn't looked back since. Injuries have also reshaped the midfield. Mark O'Shea started the year as fourth choice midfielder. Today he starts his first final after another impressive display in the win over Tyrone. Joe O'Connor has been a revelation in the middle at wing forward also, and an all-star form after a superb all-action display in the semi-final. David Clifford's form has been incredible. The new rules have certainly suited him, and today he goes in search of his masterpiece in the biggest game of the year. The Kerry bench loaded with talent. Paul Gainey is there for the third successive match. Diarmuid O'Connor must have been close to a start. He will feature today along with Killian Spillane, who always makes an impact. So that is Kerry. What about Donegal? This is the team Jim McGuinness has gone with for their fourth All-Ireland final appearance. They go after title number 3. Sean Patton has become one of the most influential goalkeepers in the game. His restarts can be as fast as 6 seconds, and he generates incredible distance with just 2 or 3 steps. Finbar Rorty is playing his 11th championship game and will be a strong contender for Young Footballer of the Year after some brilliant performances since his debut against Derry. Ryan McHugh playing in his second final, having been there in 14. he continues the remarkable McHugh family tradition in All-Ireland finals, with his brother, his dad and his uncles all playing for Donegal in these games. He's a key leader in their awesome defensive structure. The one change in the Donegal team, the return of Keelan McGonigal to the starting team in place of Hugh McFadden. McGonigal came on in the Meath game and had a big impact. Kieran Moore has been a revelation in 2025 with his running power and pace, creating havoc in opposition defences. He's one of the 7 Donegal players who have started every game in their run to the All-Ireland final. The forward line dominated by Donegal's greatest ever player. Michael Murphy came back to play in this game. It's his 3rd final, and today could be his legacy. The Donegal bench, their subs have scored 28 points off the bench this year. Patrick McBrearty is set to play his 82nd championship game, the captain, and Jim McGuinness spoiled for choice there with Keelan McGonigal. We've seen him go into the starting team. Hugh McFadden will take his place on the bench. The likes of Oran McFadden, Ferry, Jason McGee and Dara O'Bweel all pushing hard for starting places, Joanne.
And is it an interesting, just looking at that picture, Dara, while you were speaking there, the pitch, as you can see, is marked quite a little bit differently this afternoon. Now, it actually looks like a bigger deal from that shot there and on TV than it does from where we are standing next to the pitch, so it might be more difficult for you at home looking at it. But Donegal's greatest ever player is how Dara referred to him. It seems a bit strange we haven't already spoken about Michael Murphy. So I was doing some calculations during the week, Peter Canavan. So Michael made his debut for Donegal against UUJ in January of 2007. And by my calculations, 3 days later, Finbar Ruherty celebrated his 1st birthday.
Yeah, unbelievable. What a figure for Donegal. But maybe the reason we haven't been talking about him as much is that whereas Kerry are very reliant on David Clifford, I don't think Donegal are as reliant on him.
The last day we talked about how he has his hands over everything before the match.
Yeah,
well, you did.
I know that. I know that, and I know he's very central to them. But it's very possible that Michael could have a quiet game today and Donegal win.
But I think Donegal tried to make him central to everything.
Absolutely, a lot goes through him, but his decision making on the ball is such that he always decides what's best, be it shooting, be it setting it up, be it buying a free, which he's very good at as well. So look, he's instrumental in so much that is good about Donegal.
But if you talk about the scorers, Joanne, like you're saying, I know what Peter's on about here, they're not relying on him from a scoring sense of point.
We're only pausing here because this is the final men's All-Ireland final. Michael D. Higgins is coming out as Ultra on the Heron. Barring a replay, of course, that is true. I'm sure
the point I was making, Joanne, is when you look at Kerry, you look at David Clifford and Sean Shea, 60% of the scores are coming from them. So it's normal that Donegal would look and say, cancel the 2 of them and it'll go a long way. If you cancel Michael Murphy, most of the scores, they get it into that D, and there's 7, 8, 9 scores comfortable left, right. They'll be patient until they get it, whereas Kerry over-rely, and that's the argument. So from a Kerry point of view, if the others, if the Paddies, or if the Graham Sullivans, the Joe O'Connors, the Brian Begleys, the Gav, if they don't have a big game today from a scoring point of view, don't be relying on David Clifford to win this game for you today, because I don't think that he'll have the space. He'll probably come out a lot more. They won't get the quick ball into him. So it is difficult from that point of view from Kerry's side.
But on the flip side, like I was looking at Donegal strike runners during the week, like they scored 229 from defence. Like if you add Kieran Moore into that, that's another 2-8. So the spread of score is next level. So, and then I was looking at the Kerry half-back line. For me, I think they've been inaugural how Kerry have gone this year. I think defensively they've been brilliant. They just don't get the same penetration from their strike runners as they would Donegal. But for me, today, that line is going to be key in terms of how Kerry are going to go about today.
Yeah, John, don't be surprised if there's a role reversal in the 2 key players today. At some stage, I wouldn't be surprised if Michael Murphy plays closer to goal, plays on the edge of the square, and Donegal deliver high ball. And as Tomas says, if the early ball is not going into Clifford, he is going to end up playing a lot of his football out around the 40-metre arc, and most of his shots, in my opinion today, is going to come from that area.
Well, it's funny because, Tomas, if we go back to that game you were involved in back in 2014, that All-Ireland final where Kerry beat Donegal, there was all this emphasis leading into it on the fear of what Kieran Donaghy might do on the edge of the square. What does Eamon do? He gets the full-back line pulled out of there, plants Paul Gainey, who was only young at that stage, and people weren't looking towards, in a mismatch. He's the man at the edge of the square. 47 seconds in, high ball in, goal.
But it was like Eamon also did something different on the day. He held his half-back line. They held tough. Their forwards worked like dogs. If Donegal had that counter-attacking game then, the forwards tackled as hard as they could, but they also had to meet a wall of half-backs. James O'Donoghue was on fire that year, Joanne. He was always inside. He actually came out the field. So will Kerry throw a curveball? I don't think they'll veer too far from what they're doing, but it's the others on the page that will have to up their game to the level where David is at and make sure it counts on the scoreboard.
There's been an awful lot of talk. Now, obviously people will bring it up, like I just did, in relation to 2014, but it's strange that Jim McGuinness, I mentioned it there, he said he thought about that defeat every single day. You've probably heard the comments that he made post-match about how Donegal didn't deserve a draw because they didn't perform. Ryan McHugh was quoted on the press day as saying, even if Donegal win today, it wouldn't make up for what happened in 2014. Is this something, Peter, that they're putting out there, or does it suggest that there is this still thing in the back of their head that they're perhaps obsessing over?
Well, Jim's a master of psychology and getting his players motivated and to a pitch that they will perform to their very best, and it certainly wouldn't surprise me. They played Kerry in an All-Ireland final. They felt they should have won, but they didn't. Kerry beat them. This is their chance, so absolutely they've spoke about it. But from my point of view, interestingly, coming up to the game, I would have thought more people would have been predicting a Kerry. A lot of the pundits are predicting a Donegal victory, and I'd say that's not gone unnoticed in Kerry either. And the one thing also, Joanne, that teams wouldn't need to underestimate about Kerry is their physicality. I've seen them playing Throne in the league, and I said after, of all the games that Throne played in the league, no team were as physical in the middle third as Kerry. The third quarter against Throne, the third quarter against Armagh, that physicality came to the fore. So Donegal would need to brace themselves for that today too.
And speaking of the middle third as well, we heard Eamon McGee kind of disagree with you. He suggested Keelan McGonigal is coming in, perhaps sit in front of extra defensive cover for Brendan McCole.
I think McCole now will be man-on-man and Clifford as best he can, to be honest.
Well, they're not going to leave him exposed.
They're not going to leave him exposed. I think the conundrum that we seen from the semi-final with Tyrone was they were so kind of rigid with Paddy and Sean O'Shea that they left that space. Donegal won't allow that today. They'll work, as we showed in the clips already, they'll work from the weak side in, and they'll try and protect Brendan McCool as much as they can. The reality is, someone asked the question in the week, what's stopping David Clifford? What's a good score for him to get? And that's the question every, like, if he gets 6 or 7 points today, is that enough? It possibly is. And back to Tom's point, because Donegal have such a spread of scores, it's up to the rest of the Kerry backroom team, like the other people, and even the bench. I'm looking at the bench impact today as well. It's going to be huge. So, like that guy Paddy Birdie came on the last day and he was wonderful. So the thing with Donegal is they have a hunger and a bit between their teeth in terms of their bench and their impact. They're such perfectionists under Jim McGuinness. But I'm even looking at Kerry's bunch today. Paul Geaney adds a bit more bulk to it. Brosnan, Killian Spillane. So their bench does look stronger at the moment as well. So that's going to be a huge factor coming down the stretch of the game today.
Isn't that fascinating what that man does to this county? That the shots of Michael Murphy meeting the president there is what came up on the screen, just like you're seeing at home, and we got this massive cheer behind it. Tomas, what do you make of Lee's point earlier on about the two different half back lines and the different sort of roles that they play? And are they, for Kerry, the unheralded sort of line?
Yeah, I think early on, Joanne, you're going to have both teams are going to be worried that they don't concede a few handy scores. So therefore, will Brian Begley, Mike Breen, Gavin White hold tough a small while and wait for the game to unfold before they start attacking? I think no matter what way you look at it, Donegal are going to run this ball, and I would think and hope that Kerry have everybody tracked, which is a hard thing to do because all it takes is, with the patience of Donegal, one fella to fall out of it. Look, I genuinely think Peter made a point there on, and looking at it from a Kerry point of view, everybody will say on paper Kerry have more quality. That's arguable. Donegal have such quality themselves the way they play. But a key factor is the piece I did there, and I genuinely believe that if Kerry have enough possession and they add that doggedness when they don't have the ball, I think they have enough to win it. They'll eke it out. I don't think it's going to be a classic, by the way. I don't think
any does.
Will you never know, because we did see this classic, and we just saw Michael Murphy and David Clifford on show there, and obviously back in 2022 we had these two unbelievable individual performances. Are we definitely ruling that out, Peter?
The reason why we're all a bit sceptical about a free-flowing game is both teams depend so much. Their oxygen is turnovers, and when they turn over the opposition, they break at blistering pace, and they get so many off their scores from that. So if that's the case, then teams are going to be ultra careful when in possession of the ball, and it could end up being a more cagey affair, which is what I think we're all expecting. I hope we're wrong.
More so Kerry, because if you see the example from the Meath game, when Finbar Roherty turn over the ball in here, it takes about 13 seconds as the back of the net. So Kerry will know this, and they'll be so aware of that as well.
Joanne, I think a big thing is we've discussed this game in and out. We've discussed the winning and the losing of this game, whatever. We'll turn around tomorrow morning and we'll say whatever it is. Donegal's running game was always going to overpower Kerry or challenge them. Tomorrow is the day that we'll know, but it's going to be huge.
There's the first bit of mind games there, Tomas. The Kerry lads lined up for the parade. They were waiting. Donegal stayed in the middle of the pitch, and eventually, to sarcastic cheers from the crowd, they came over. So that's the start of it.
Definitely intentional, was it?
Absolutely. And coming round the parade, the last day against me, Donegal didn't go down the whole way to Hill 16. They broke at the halfway line. So again, be interesting to see what happens here today.
So what happens in your head then, Lee, when you're going around? Have you already decided we're following them around no matter what, or do you change your mind if you see what the other team does?
No, I think you stick to what you usually do. Like, well, I didn't pay half enough attention anyway during it, but no, there's never a talk about breaking early or getting to the mind games. Possibly with Donegal, Kerry, I don't know how they operate, but in terms of on our day, no, we used to try and embrace the crowd as much as we can. And sure, listen, if a couple of guys run through you might try to throw a trip or two. So,
do you think, Tomas, we will see Peter hint to that? And we've only really seen it in the Ulster final, a little bit against Monaghan as well. Michael Murphy planted edge of square and more kicking from Donegal.
Yeah, it's always a danger, Joanne, whether they've tried it. The first kick against Monaghan in that match that they played, it was a long ball, and I says, wow, they're changing it up here, they're going at something different. I think they take it on game. Is the Kerry full back line, if they get Paul Murphy, Jason Foley, I don't actually know who's going to pick up. Dylan and Murphy are the two big boys inside. Are they going to try to isolate him side? Quite possibly. I don't think Jim is going to veer too far away from what he's been doing, so I'd be actually surprised if they do go along, I'll be honest with you.
Go back to that about Murphy. You don't think it's going to be necessarily Jason Foley?
No, I think you have either two choices. I think it should be Jason Foley, but I think you'll either... Gallen is a key man to mark as well. So if it's Paul Murphy or Dylan Casey, Paul Murphy had a poor enough game against Tyrone. He was taken for a good few scores from a certain Mr. Canavan. So I'm not sure will he be the man to take Allen. But they're the two men that Kerry will go after as such. But Joanne, we spoke earlier, the O'Donnells, they're having a huge impact. It's all these extra players that are the threat. And if Kerry are going to go man on man, then what happens to their zonal?
Yeah, I'd be amazed if Murphy doesn't go and Shane O'Donnell. Shane O'Donnell's capable of winning the game himself if he hits for a really talented footballer and sets up so much for Donegal. So I'd imagine that assignment will be given to Paul Murphy.
Yeah, I don't think, like, Kerry won't want to veer away from what they're trying to do themselves. So I don't know, will they have too many man-on-mans everywhere?
But there you go, Donegal have broken away from the parade early as had been anticipated.
I think Kerry are purposely staying and walking out. I think the parade is always a huge tradition in Kerry. It's important. They know how important it is to the fans, and I think they did the right thing right there.
And of course, if I'm not mistaken, Paul Murphy, we were talking about a little while ago, he was an All-Star back in 2014 following that victory for Kerry over Donegal in the All-Ireland final. Now, serve you, Aaron Orty News Channel, August Aaron Orty player Nish to talk up the fall Osweiga, led Darrow Knaja, August Gary McDonagh, and one of Dara's Jubilee teammates is on duty for us here on the Sunday game as well. Eamon is with our own Dara.
Joanne, thank you very much indeed. Yeah, well, you've seen the first two pieces of mind games from Donegal, and you saw the counter from Kerry. They were going to stay behind the R10 band and complete their parade around Croke Park. So it started already. The place is full, packed to its capacity of 82,300. And this is game 99 and the last, maybe, of the Football Championship after a sensational year where the game of football was reimagined and reborn. We're down to the two best teams in the country. At this point, before we have Aaron Navian, the GAA would like to remember Colin Mulholland from Lavey in Derry, who passed away this week. He was centre-back on the Derry team in the 1958 All-Ireland final against Dublin. And the association would also like to offer its condolences following the tragic deaths this week in Fermanagh of Vanessa White and her children James and Sarah Rookledge. All three were immersed in the GAA, with Lisbon, St Patrick's and St Mary's, Maguire's Bridge, and also to Vanessa's home club, St Joseph's Dura Bearfield in County Clare.
All three were immersed in Gaelic games and highly active at Lisbon, St Patrick's and St Mary's, Maguire's Bridge clubs. We offer our sympathy to both communities, to families and friends, and also Vanessa's home club, St Joseph's Dura Bearfield, County Clare. Anisha Corda Aran Avian, Alcasa Doing and Banachiola Dain, Fristu Ronan O'Reilly, and signed by Senan Dunn and Caroline O'Leary.
Jim McGuinness against Jack O'Connor. Kerry against Donegal. The pitch, as you can see, looks different. It's been a talking point. It's the first time since 2010 that the two teams have played in their changed colours. Kerry in blue, Donegal in white. For Cork and Down back in 2010, Cork wore white, and they won that final 15 years ago. The referee is Brendan Cawley from Sarsfields in County Kildare. This is his first All-Ireland final and his 30th competitive game. He took charge of last year's All-Ireland club final and did the Kerry-Donegal League game in Killarney 5 months ago. The sun is out, the conditions absolutely perfect. Kerry won the toss. They will attack the Davin stand end of Croke Park, and the All-Ireland final is on. And off we go. Here comes Gavin White, the Kerry captain, right down the middle. Kerry might favour attacking down the middle and try and keep Donegal out wide. And that's Dylan Ganey, and the first score is after 13 seconds. A pre-rehearsed move from the catch in the middle of the field. Kerry lead.
Outstanding from Gavin White and Dylan Ganey. I'm expecting him to have a huge game today, Dara, because there's going to be so much attention elsewhere. He's a finisher, and that's a great start for him.
Sean Patton's first kick out. There's the 2 steps, and he just drills it, and it just about got there. It did, though. That's the main thing. Shane O'Donnell for Donegal, the Ulster champions against the Munster champions. Donegal's 11th game. The match started late. It started 5 minutes late. Owen, Ban, Gallagher, they say Ban in Donegal. Here's Ryan McHugh, football royalty in Kilcar and in Donegal. And here they go with Shane O'Donnell again. We'll have a lot of touches of the ball. Ryan McHugh, Derry just sit back. And Donegal with Oisin Gallen got 1-2 against Meath. He was brilliant that day. Gallen been tracked by Paul Murphy. Gallen takes it on, and Gallen has scored. Donegal equalise. Real calm, and that's a big start for Gallen.
Yeah, typical Donegal score. They just got the ball in hand. They made sure that they were, while probing, they weren't putting anything up for grabs. Oisin Gallen on the loop. And again, another fella that if he gets ball and he gets firing, seriously dangerous.
Shane Ryan played in the 2014 minor final between these two counties. Dylan Casey got to that. Here's Mike Breen. He really has taken his chance in this team. Shawnee O'Shea, great against Armagh. Here's Paudie Clifford. His vision will be absolutely crucial for Kerry today. Shawnee O'Shea, ditto. What does Jack O'Connor call him? The spiritual leader of this team. Bringing up Bugli. Mike Breen. And that went astray, but Gavin White able to capitalise and get to it. That's Kieran Thompson working really hard. as you look around the stadium, it's very difficult to tell who's got more support. It's all green and gold. Kerry hanging onto the ball. Paddy Clifford for 2. Clifford didn't quite catch that. Oh, it's gone over for 1. It's gone over for 1. Clifford with the ball in, and the finish by Sean O'Brien.
Yeah, Sean O'Brien drifting inside to occupy to make sure that those sweepers can't do exactly what they want. Most dangerous ball in football, dropping short from Paddy. Good finish from Sean O'Brien. Electric start, Dara, electric atmosphere.
So Sean Patton just slows things down. There'll be more than 2 steps here, and no 6-second restart. That goes long, and it's a great catch by Joe O'Connor. He's at it already. Here come Kerry. Dylan Gainey. Sean O'Shea from Kenmare Shamrocks. Mike Breen. You can see Donegal just getting into shape. They talk about this zonal defence with the tartan design on the pitch. We get an even clearer view of it from up here.
You see David Clifford out here in the 10 position, McCall with him. He's taken him out of the mix at the moment, so Donegal are obviously down the defender in that zone of defence momentarily, Dara.
Here's Gavin White. White soloing off his right. Gavin White through. Scores again, 3-1. This is a brisk start for the Munster champions.
Yeah, excellent. As we mentioned, came from that kick-out catch, first of all, from Joe O'Connor. It slowed into one of those established attacks. Kerry have more or less given up this kick-out now, but went wide. Gavin White put on the burners second time the game and opened up the score. Very well done.
Keelan McColgan made his Donegal debut in 23 against Kerry, and a barnstorming run forward. This is Keelan McGonigal, the late addition to the starting 15. He's a big player for Donegal. He's a big game player, and this is the biggest game of the lot. And McGonigal scores for Donegal.
Yeah, it's up and down. Good in the first bit. McConaughey dodged back inside in his left foot and got it away. Shane Ryan's got one of the sharp kick-outs away. Todd Jason Foley, who's on Michael Murphy. So it'll be interesting to see if they're trying to go and get Murphy working in terms of chasing Foley on kick-outs as they did just there.
Yeah, he had to do it on that occasion and then forced to give away the free. Here's Joe O'Connor. That was Kieran Moore with him. That's, if the two of them are near each other, it's going to be like watching 2 Olympic sprinters. They're both really, really quick. Kieran Moore was a 400 metres runner in school. What a year he's had. Paddy Clifford. So Kerry have put the 2 probably tallest players in their team in close to Sean Patton's goal. Gavin White has played really well already, and that's gone over again. And Gavin White has been one of the key men in this Kerry display. They've only been playing for 5 minutes. He's had the ball loads.
It's an incredible start from him, Dara. The initial drive that led to the first point of the game for Dylan Gainey. He's got 2 himself. As I said, David is staying wide in the 10 position every time Kerry are attacking. He's sucking some attention that way, and Kerry are punching down the left side, working for them so far.
And Kerry, you can see where their forwards, those blue jerseys, have settled down, giving Sean Patton a lot to think about. He went very high. Mark O'Shea got a touch on that, but it's come back on the Donegal side. Ryan McHugh. Michael Langan. Scored 3 2-pointers during the course of the year. Kieran Thompson got 5 of them. He's played every single minute of the championship for Donegal. Keelan McGonigal. They road tested him against Meath, and he was really good that day. Langan. Here's Conor O'Donnell. Always uses the ball so well. From Karen Dunna. That's Tyler Mogan. So they just slow things down. The impact comes now. Kieran Thompson. And there's the impact. There's advantage in play. The ball had been kicked wide. It's going to be a free in on the 13-metre line for the push in the back.
Yeah, and it was even a kind of a snatchy enough shot from Kieran Thompson. Normally in the Donegal situation there'd be another pass or two because he was being closed in on there by both Graham O'Sullivan and Joe O'Connor, but free and handy chip over one for Michael Murphy as he's preparing it. Dara McCall is picking up David Clifford as we would have expected. McColgan has gone back and Dylan Gainey. Morgan is picking up Paddy Clifford at the far side. Jason Foley's picking Michael Murphy, Paul Murphy and Oisin Gallen. Dylan Casey and Conor O'Donnell probably change, especially at the Donegal side as the game goes on.
You saw instructions going into Keelan McColgan, and it's been such a frantic start to him, and normally you get to do those matchups a lot earlier than the 8th minute. Here's Michael Murphy. Murphy gets his first score. Kerry have created 4 scoring chances. You know what they've done. Donegal created 3 scoring chances and scored 3 times. Been a really, really enjoyable start.
Yeah, Donegal had a chance, obviously, after free to get their press ready this time, so it'll be a good test of Shane Ryan. Sean Patton is out to intercept a long one as well, if need be.
That's out towards Joe O'Connor. Kieran Thompson there with them. There's another one from Big Joe. Paddy Clifford. Quicker attack this time from Kerry. Shawnee O'Shea surrounded. Arriving at pace is Mark O'Shea. They switch the ball wide again. Dylan Gainey didn't like the image in front of him. And here's an effort, and it's another score for Kerry. 5 attacks, 5 scores, and Paddy Clifford gets his first. 5-3.
Ferocious accuracy by both sides, Darren. Not alone in their shooting, but in their skill set. Everything they're doing, that catch from Joe O'Connor there. All the passes are on the money, and it's opening up those shots. Another example there, tight picture for Sean Patton, and he got his kick out away to O'Donnell.
Crazy shape on that. He was able to flight it, get it as quickly as he could to Shane O'Donnell. There's not a breath of wind around Croke Park. There was a little breeze earlier on. It maybe favoured Kerry, but that's a loose one. Donegal surprisingly give the ball away. You don't expect those kind of mistakes. Here's David Clifford for 2. McCall couldn't get close enough to him. Clifford! Paddy's at it now, David's at it, and that's for 2 points. First 2-pointer in an All-Ireland final.
As you mentioned, so unlike Donegal, read well by Paddy Clifford. McColgan with a rare kick pass, especially back there, intercepted to David. No nonsense. He wasn't going bringing it in to chip it over and bring himself into the game. 2-pointer, huge score.
Sean Patton. Wow, the distance on that, ridiculous. Mark O'Shea got a hand to it. Here's Joe O'Connor, another possession for him. O'Connor stays calm. Dylan Casey. Here come Kerry again. Gavin White. How many times has he touched the ball? Here's David Clifford. McCole just behind him. Graham O'Sullivan. Sean O'Brien. First final appearance for him. Same for Mark O'Shea. Drino Bugli. They take the pace out of it now. He tries to inject some back in. Paddy Clifford. Deafening noise. Graham O'Sullivan made a move out. Mark O'Shea, you can see, just trotting, passing the 20-metre line at the moment. They're going to put 3 in their full forward line.
Yeah.
Donegal trying to reshape their cover. Here's Paddy Clifford.
The outside bodies are deeper as well, Dara.
Clifford for 2, and that was wide. Sean Patton had his angles correct. First wide of the entire game.
Kerry's outermost attacking line, those slow attacks, is a bit further forward, Darren, and it's tempting the Donegal backs to come out a small bit. Paddy probably a small bit more patience there, because as you mentioned, they had bodies inside, there is space there, and it will come down to that decision-making in possession.
Kerry 8 scoring chances created from play. Donegal with 2. He's gone down towards Kieran Thompson and Michael Langan again. Kerry win another Donegal kick-out. Here's Paul Murphy, man of the match in the 14 final. Here they come. Paddy Clifford. Donegal just sitting off them a bit. Clifford looks really sharp today. Sean O'Brien is available for Shawnee O'Shea if needed. Now he goes in and he's picked up by one of the Donegal markers. Brian Bugli. Mike Breen. Gavin White from Dr. Croke's. The captain is Graham O'Sullivan. 12 on his back. He's had a really good year. David Clifford, this is for 2 again. He gave that absolutely everything. That's superb from David Clifford. You expect nothing less. 2 2-pointers for the great man.
He's on. He was inside at the centre of the D that time, and he came in the loop and again got a quick shot away, unbelievably accurate. Kerry are winning a load of this dirty ball there, whether it's in the air, as with Joe O'Connor in the last couple on the ground, and it's putting Donegal under severe pressure.
Sean Patton went really quick with the kick out. That was that 6-second thing, but they've lost the ball. Mark O'Shea, another Croke's man. Mike Breen, 9 points to 3. Just under 12 minutes in. Gavin White again. Donegal sitting back inside the arc. Joe O'Connor. There's a Kerry cue outside it. Paddy Clifford. Mike Breen.
Not that the Donegal bodies are occupied. They're finding it hard to sit back and to be those sweepers at the centre of the D.
Monaghan did something similar in their game where They didn't let Owen Ban Gallagher and Ryan McHugh be free and be able to organise things in the defence. So Kerry doing things on their terms at the moment. Gavin White, that's into Sean O'Brien. O'Brien has started really well. This is for one. And Kerry can do no wrong at the moment. And Donegal are rocking. It's 10 points to 3.
It's all in their terms, Dara. They're doing everything very accurately. You mentioned it already. Sean O'Brien went in there, came out in the centre of the D. Fellas are being marked. The zonal defence is being pulled apart. And Kerry's accuracy is telling.
So Patton goes out towards Michael Murphy. There was some pushing in there. It's a free to Donegal. And Kerry look really open. Here's Ryan McHugh. Gallen is to his right. It's gone out to Oisin Gallen. Oisin Gallen for his second point, and they needed that. It just steadies them down. It's a fine score. All very quick, all very accurate.
Yeah, it was. And to be fair to Kerry, in those situations when you're pressing as they are, they're going to give up scores like that where they are going to be open, give up the point, not the goal, particularly with the margin. They'll be happy with that. Looks to me as if Shane Ryan is targeting whoever is on Michael Murphy for those short kickouts, Dara, that he's making Murphy having to chase and run, burn energy defensively, rather than being the presence attacking wise he has been for a lot of this season.
Who said hammer the hammer? Look how quickly Kerry move up the field. Central position for Shawnee O'Shea. So when they attack down the middle, Donegal have to stay out wide. Gavin White. Walking pace. Joe O'Connor rarely does that. So look, you know, there'll be no panic from Jim McGuinness and Donegal. It's a long, long way to go.
Brian Biogli's position at this side is interesting as well, Dara. He's in a very offensive right in the 20-metre line. He's sucking bodies towards him, again leaving space inside in the D. That when Kerry get a chance to go at a man and go past a man here, there'll be open ground in front of them.
Actually on this attack, O'Biogli is playing like a right corner forward. Gavin White, the left half-back, is playing like a left corner forward. David Clifford, now that is Brendan McCole, and the referee decides that that was accidental.
Yeah, we'll see it here. It was, to be fair, his left foot clipped David as he was chasing him there. There was nothing deliberate about it. It is a free, correct decision from Brendan Cawley. Good opportunity for Shawnee Shea now for another two-pointer.
Yeah, it's outside the 40-metre arc.
There was an interesting thing in the Irish Times this morning there about the number of two-pointers that have been kicked into the canal end versus the hill. There's way more kicks down into the canal end rather than the hill, so Kerry are certainly making that count in the first half. If Shawnee gets this one, it'll be their third one.
Shawnee O'Shea for 2 points, and that's what he's done. So 3 of them they've got in the first 15 minutes. Statement of intent.
They have the aggressive press in place again from the free 4, then there's 3, then the lads are out on the big bodies, particularly Michael Murphy here.
So Sean Patton goes long. Now, that is a mark. I wonder, was there a bit of a nudge in there on a Kerry player as well? Here's Finbar Rorty.
Joe Connor is going where Michael Murphy is as well on those long kickouts. He's a second helper to Jason Foley, we'll say.
Here is Michael Murphy. He'll be 36 very soon. Tadhg Mogan. So Michael Murphy staying outside the Kerry 45-metre line. Tadhg Mogan. Kerry 60-40. I thought it would have been more, actually. But they're the correct numbers. Here's Michael Langan. Conor O'Donnell. And the shot is blocked down brilliantly. It was Tadhg Mogan's effort. We've seen him in those kind of positions during Championship 25 and do very well. Brilliant block down. And Kerry surge out of defence. Brian O'Biogli. Dylan Casey, first final for him today. He's doing quite a job to keep Tom O'Sullivan out of the team. Shawnee O'Shea.
Yeah, the first couple of passes after that great block down were lateral, and it meant that it had to develop into one of these kind of attacks again. Again, we see David Clifford out in the 10 position. Again, when he's out there, you'd expect Kerry to possibly end up making the break in the left-hand side of their attack.
And so Brendan McCole, a long way from his own goal. Joe O'Connor. So Clifford just kind of sacrificing himself. I'm out of things unless you want me to go for two. Brian O'Bughley. And that's a risky one. Ryan McHugh could not get there. Shawnee O'Shea. Shawnee O'Shea for another two-pointer. Didn't quite catch it. Sean Patton did. Pattern Mulder for Donegal. They are 8 points behind. And that is a free to Kerry. Ball given back quickly, and the counter could cause havoc for Donegal. David Clifford to capitalise, and Clifford, you know, he's brilliant in those situations and further out. What a start.
What a start, and obviously the silk is so hugely critical. Was it Dylan Gainey that forced the turnover? I'm not 100% sure. I think it was. Ended up with David after the ball had been dropped short. First time that Donegal probably had a chance to go on one of those running style attacks, and they turned it over.
Massive distance on the kick out from Sean Patton. Gallen had it but lost out. Kerry just swarming around those white Donegal jerseys, turning the ball over, forcing mistakes. They are just lording it at the moment. Jim McGuinness is down on the sideline in front of us, roaring instructions at his defenders to get back in shape. Sean O'Brien. Paddy Clifford. Mike Breen. Now here's Gavin White. Was the possession star in the first 10 minutes. Paddy Clifford. Kerry are doing things on their terms continually. Here's David Clifford. Nice pass. And they keep it moving. Dylan Gainey. Here's Mike Breen playing like a left corner forward. Dylan Gainey. Shawnee O'Shea. Gavin White. Kerry keeping the ball. White spots a bit of a gap, gets away from Rorty. Now he has to check back out. Paddy Clifford. David Clifford playing like the centre forward at the moment. Here is the number 11, Shawnee O'Shea. So Donegal having to keep their discipline, keep their concentration. Again, the two Kerry midfielders are in closest to goal. This was for 2 points. It is wide though. Second wide for Kerry. Second wide of the game.
Another long one here.
Patton, look at the flight on that. Brian O'Bughley there with Michael Murphy. They hammer the hammer again. That was for the great man. He couldn't get to it. O'Bughley was fantastic. Here he is again. A surge forward from the Gaeltacht man. He hits the deck. No foul. Ball turned over. Now, Donegal are brilliant in these situations, and they need to start showing us that now. Here is Shane O'Donnell. Kieran Moore. Jason Foley now picking up Michael Murphy. The level of communication with the Kerry defenders to pick him up because they're rotating who's closest to him. Here's Kieran Thompson. Thompson has some space, surging through. Joe O'Connor comes across, hit the deck, no foul, ball turned over. Brendan Cawley, the referee, was in a perfect position to make the call on that. Now Dylan Casey, it's gone against him. He overcarried the ball. It's a free into Donegal. They got away with one here.
Yeah, it's amazing. The couple of mistakes have started to creep in the last minute or two that both teams have been playing so well in terms of in possession most of the time. Good from Donegal, in fairness to both Owen Bon Gallagher and Shane O'Donnell. Big turnover, one of the things that they're so associated with them.
So there's a lot for Jim McGuinness and company to talk about at the moment, but we saw a little flashpoint as well involving Michael Murphy and one of the Kerry players. But Michael is going to take this free himself just outside the old arc. Well, I suppose it's not. It's the more traditional arc. So Kieran Thompson was the player who made that lovely burst through and then ended up on the ground.
It was good scramble defence from Kerry that time because it looked like Kieran Thompson had breached.
Okay, so we just have a break in play. Let's go down to Damien Lawler, who's with Enda McGinley.
Thanks very much, Dara. It's a very anxious camp here in Donegal, and Cian O'Neill was just giving messages into Dylan Gainey to continue that crisscross running. But Enda, your thoughts on this match so far? It's been a whirlwind start for Donegal.
Absolutely, huge talk beforehand about the difference in the two styles. Kerry are man-to-man. Donegal are sticking massively to the zonal defence. They are only going man-to-man on David Clifford. They're not picking up Paddy. They're not picking up Shawnee O'Shea. They're not picking up the likes of Gavin White. And Kerry are loving going at those one-on-ones and getting great joy. Meanwhile, in the middle third, the main man, Joe O'Connor, he is storming. He's won clean catches. He's won break ball. He's dominating.
Back to you, Dara.
Thanks, lads. So Michael Murphy has scored 1 point in this final. Donegal haven't scored since the 13th minute. So Michael Murphy, we're just waiting for Kieran Thompson and the Donegal medics to leave the field of play.
Looks like he's done, Dara, the way he's coming off there.
Yeah, absolutely. He just looks pretty dejected. But Donegal have 2 players out warming up.
So Dara O'Boyle is probably coming on while Kieran Thompson's trying to run up the line now to see if he's okay, but Dara O'Boyle's ready to go if he's needed.
So here is Michael Murphy. And Murphy has hit the post. This is going to be like the hurling final with all those shots that came off. The metalwork. Here's Jason Foley. I'd written that one down, so we better cross that one off. Anybody got any Tipp-Ex?
You can pass it to me as well, Dara. I write it down as well.
Do you know what the difference? This day last year, in the first half, we were talking about a seagull. Not talking about them now. Well, I know I've mentioned it, but here's Paddy Clifford. Joe O'Connor making a sneaky run down the side of the Donegal cover. Bruno Buglia. Here's Shawnee O'Shea. Joe O'Connor.
When they get a chance, when the Kerry players get a chance, they're asking the question, as Gavin White will do here, and then if they can't breach, they come back out around. They're working it very clever.
That was Kieran Moore working hard for Donegal. Mike Breen for 2 points, and Mike has missed. So that's their 3rd wide.
Yeah, no, I don't think that was the right option from Mike Breen there. It did open up for him, but you would have preferred to have seen him coming across. There was shooters lined up at this side, and away go Donegal.
Michael Langan, and that's going to be its advantage being played. Now it's Shane O'Donnell for Donegal. Here's Ryan McHugh again. He missed Michael Murphy. Referee's playing an advantage. Oisin Gallen doesn't need the advantage, or does he? No, he doesn't. Point scored. Really good attack from Donegal.
Just highlights their danger, and from Kerry's point of view there, you mentioned they've had a couple of wides. They've got a bit untidy. Donegal in an instant can be up. Shane O'Donnell, as he does so often, making the key pass in that move. He's brilliant at even adjusting the hand that's holding the ball, adjusting the height of that to get the hand passes away if he's under pressure.
Shane Ryan's kick out. That was broken away from Mark O'Shea. Listen to the Donegal crowd. Here goes Conor O'Donnell. O'Donnell surging through. Casey comes across to meet him. Conor O'Donnell steadies down, takes the shot and scores. 2 in a row for Donegal. First time they've managed that in the game.
Yeah, great score. Brilliant pace from Conor O'Donnell. They won the breaking ball when it came out long. He attacked at pace then. And as you mentioned it there, you can hear the Donegal support. All they're looking for is something to get behind their team. They have a small bit of momentum, but they have a stoppage here.
Kieran Thompson. I think Kieran Thompson is going to have to go off. Dara O'Boyle from Gweedore is going to replace it, and that is heartbreaking for Kieran to have to go off after 22 minutes of the All-Ireland Senior Football Final.
Yeah, he's a huge loss. He's a big leader as well as all of the quality he brings. But to be fair to Donegal, the quality of the likes of Dara O'Boyle to be able to bring in as well as emphasises the strength of their squad. Tough on Kieran, though.
Sure it is, yeah. So Dara O'Boyle is a serious talent. While I think of it, can I say hello to Barney McMonigal from Letterkenny and Donegal from the St. Eunan's Club. Glued to this, like everybody in Donegal, everybody in Kerry, wherever you are around the world. We hope you are enjoying this. That was acrobatic from Mark O'Shea. Kerry free.
Did well to win it.
Graham O'Sullivan. Kerry haven't scored in 5 minutes. Donegal, it's not really a crisis, is it? But the way they tore into it, leading 13-4 after 17 minutes. Clifford's point was their last score, and Donegal have turned them over. And that's one of the biggest roars of the day. On Van Gallagher, here they come. Dara O'Boyle just on the field for the Ulster champions. McGonigal has got ahead of him. Dara O'Boyle. Oisin Gallen. Gallen started brightly. 23rd minute, 13 points to 6. Shane O'Donnell. Tanner Mogan. Ryan McHugh. Conor O'Donnell. Michael Murphy fancies a go. This will be for one from Michael Murphy. There you go. That's 3 in a row for Donegal.
Yeah, they've steadied the ship big time.
So it's now down to 6 points. Short kick out works for Shane Ryan and company. Paul Murphy. Oh, Murphy in trouble. Oisin Gannon. And now Michael Murphy. Straight line towards goal. Murphy takes the point. And now it's Kerry's turn to look really wobbly. 4 without reply for the Ulster champions.
Yeah, great intensity, great turnover, and then forcing the turnover to score. Huge cheer. Michael Murphy being the man to convert it, even drives it up another couple of decibels. Kerry under pressure here. Shane Ryan got away a good sharp one the last time. Joe O'Connor this time.
What was 9 points is now 5. Joe O'Connor, that's come to Shawnee O'Shea. Oh, dances away from Owen Ban Gallagher. Finbar Rorty closes him down. Graham O'Sullivan from Drummond Pierces. Paudie Clifford just takes the edge off it. Mike Breen. 21 points in the first 24 and a half minutes. So that Kerry total growing, obviously. Thing about Kieran Thompson going off, I mentioned like the lad had played every single minute of their 10 previous games, and it's been quite a journey to take them to this match. Mark O'Shea was in it full forward and darted out towards Paudie Clifford. Shawnee O'Shea.
Donegal can only play with one sweeper. Keelan McGonigal is doing the job, Dara. You know that their zonal system, they're having to pick up all of the Kerry bodies that are in there. They're trying to create these kind of gaps outside where they can get one-on-one, possibly get off a shot then if they can get past the man, similar to what Shawnee Shea is facing with Kieran Moore here.
David Clifford in that deep position again. I'm trying to think how many times we saw him in the Tyrone game out in these kind of areas of the field, but it's a bespoke plan, as you would expect, from Jack O'Connor against such a brilliant team. Here's Paudie Clifford, a brilliant player. Clifford gets the shot away, comes off the post. Donegal have done it, advantage been played. Kerry, the shot hit the post, and it's going to be a free in for Kerry. Advantage was being played.
Yeah. If we're doubting which is the bigger support, we can hear it here. Paudie danced inside. Finbar Rorty seemed to maybe clip his leg right at the end, but it probably is a soft enough free. But that's the point I was making beforehand, Dara, that when they're getting so many of the Donegal backs occupied inside in that area, if you can get past one, as Paudie did there and Rorty, you can get the shot off.
So we saw earlier on instructions going in from Jim McGuinness to Keelan McColgan. Well, now there's instructions for Kieran Moore. That's out of picture. We'll follow Shawnee O'Shea. They haven't scored since the 17th minute, and they bring that run to an end. Shawnee O'Shea.
So they have the aggressive press in place again. There are 4-3, and then they have the bodies picking up outside. Michael Murphy being picked by Jason Foley, and then Joe O'Connor lurking nearby, that if it's coming that way, he's going to help out in the air and on the ground if he has to.
So Sean Patton telling his players to get even further down the field. He can kick the ball over the pressure, no doubt about that. Michael Murphy got a hand to it. It fell kindly for Kerry, and they moved the ball quickly out to Gavin White again. Ahead of him is Paudie Clifford. Shawnee O'Shea and Graham O'Sullivan to his left. He has to go out there. Dylan Gainey's taken up a position in close enough to Sean Patton. Recycle back out to Gavin White, the 28-year-old captain of Kerry. Mike Breen.
Kerry are doing excellent in those breaking balls. It's 8-2 now in the first period of the game, Dara, so it's something they've clearly worked on, something they've clearly discussed, and it's going well for them so far.
Gavin White. Finbar Rorty near him. Now, in around the back is Shawnee O'Shea. Has to go back out to his captain. Mike Breen. Dylan Gainey. Now look at Brian O'Bughley. He's been in this position all game when they attack. Mark O'Shea couldn't hang on. It's back out to Dylan Gainey, and the Dingle man gets the score. So that's 2 without reply for Kerry.
That's brilliant, Dara. That's the stereotypical way I'd expect to try and pick his zonal defence apart. A big kick wide, support coming in from Brian. He took the right decision, ended up back with Dylan again, and he converted it well. Good kick out from Sean Patton.
Nerveless kick out from Sean Patton, wasn't it? Dara O'Boyle for Donegal. Michael Murphy been picked up by Jason Foley. Foley, one of the 4 ever presents in Kerry's starting team in their matches up to now. So Michael Murphy has gone in close enough to Shane Ryan. We haven't seen Donegal try and kick the ball in on top of him. Did a bit of it in the first half of the Ulster final. That is Conor O'Donnell, and O'Donnell was tracked by Graham O'Sullivan, but O'Sullivan wasn't close enough to him, and that's a really fantastic score by Conor O'Donnell. Donegal haven't kicked a wide.
Yeah, they've been excellent, and that's so typical of their efficiency that when they get the shots away, they're so generally so accurate. Conor O'Donnell is carrying on with his fine year again today.
So that is Mike Breen who ends up on the ground, and Kerry have got a free. Joe O'Connor. Toddy Clifford. David Clifford continues his role. You can see him there with Brendan McCull not even looking at the ball, just staring straight at David Clifford. That's his job. You just mark him. Keep him quiet enough and we should be okay, although there are many other threats in this Kerry attack, like with Donegal, regularly in double figures in terms of scorers in their matches up to now.
The fact that Paddy Clifford is getting to play so much ball here centrally means that they have to have bodies on both sides. He gets another shot away.
Paddy Clifford for 2. That one has been missed. So that's their 4th wide.
Point I was just making there is that Paddy's getting on so much ball centrally that they have to, Donegal's zone, they have to mark bodies at both sides, and it's meaning that they are quite open.
Darrow Boyle. Tadder Morgan. Conor O'Donnell. Ryan McHugh. Shane O'Donnell. Now this is Conor O'Donnell again. O'Donnell shoots, and their flawless shooting, but look, it was always going to come to an end, wasn't it? That is their very first wide, though. Shane Ryan with the ball on the tee, and that is just too high. It all has to be precise. That gives the ball back to Donegal. They've got 5 out of the last 7 points in the game. Have Jim McGuinness's team. Darrow Wheel thought about the shot. Michael Murphy. Oh, and Michael Murphy, the pass was loose, and here comes Joe O'Connor. Another barnstorming run forward. It's all about how quickly Kerry can do this. David Clifford had gone in close to goal, out in front of Brendan McCull. Clifford for 2 points. It's on the way, but that was well short from David Clifford. It was an off-the-cuff thing. Bit of a let-off for Donegal after the mistake in possession down at the other end.
Yeah, it's unusual from Donegal and their attack there. They're not getting those kind of wraparounds where they're constantly wrapping around the back of each other to make sure that they're not being dispossessed for whatever reason today, whether it's because the Kerry players are closer to them and it's harder to do it, but this kind of stuff where they're getting players constantly supporting around the back and eventually opening up that almost 100% shot.
Shane O'Donnell from St. Eunan's. Shane O'Donnell through. Kerry gave him way too much space. Jason Foley, you could see him kind of punch the air. He wasn't happy with what was happening around him. That's point number 10.
Yeah, he's having a huge influence again there, both in terms of creating and obviously getting his score away there.
So this is for Joe O'Connor. That was Michael Langan. They kind of collided with each other. Brian O'Bughley straight with Oisin Gallen, and O'Bughley, did he touch the ball on the ground? Donegal want to do this quickly, And they do. Kieran Moore, Conor O'Donnell. Ryan McHugh was calling for it. Switches it out to Darrow Boyle. Michael Murphy still in at full forward. And now they're going long to Michael Murphy. And that, well, it was towards him. I'm not really sure what that was.
Yeah, just bad execution there. Shane Ryan read it, and they were getting cover back in front of Michael Murphy as it was happening as well with Dylan Casey. You could see Kerry probably trying to hold on to the ball here now until the hooter possibly, and getting the last attack and the last shot.
And I think you probably took your cue off Cian O'Neill, because he's down there, he had his hand up in the air as if to say, look, there's just over a minute left, let's hang on to the ball and see if we can get the last score of the first half. Another involvement in an All-Ireland final for Cian O'Neill, the Kerry coach, brought back in this year by Jack O'Connor. He refreshed his backroom team.
David Clifford is out at 10 again, right on the sideline, occupying Brendan McCole. So, in effect, you could say that their defence is nearly down a body at the moment. Gavin White is back as one of the three back at the moment, Darrow, which I'd nearly expect him to be coming on as one of the fellas to come on in the set play to try and get the score.
Well, maybe he's just taking a bit of a breather, but David Clifford just taking McCole and himself, they're both out of the game when they're in these kind of positions, well outside the Donegal 45-metre line, and Paddy Clifford just
had to check the clock there.
things.
Yeah, he just had to look up, and he's aware of what's left now.
So the hooter will arrive in just over 10 seconds. This isn't going down well with the Donegal supporters, as you can hear, but this is part of the reimagined game of Gaelic football.
I suppose the Kerry players will argue that it's up to Donegal to push out and try and get the ball back, so you'll probably see a bit of urgency put into it here now, but you'd still expect the play to go on for another bit before they'll develop the shot that they want to get.
Paddy Clifford. Here is David Clifford. There's the urgency. There's the shot from Clifford for two, and he's got another one. And that has worked absolutely perfectly for Kerry, and it gives them a massive boost at half-time, scoring another two-pointer just after the hooter. It's the last kick of the first half, and there's a race then to get in. Well, I think the Kerry players are going to be held outside the tunnel. They don't want any kind of flash points there, but David Clifford, his positioning, the way he's played, the way he's scored in the first half, as always, a central figure whenever Kerry play. Kerry leading at half-time. A fascinating first half, a really enjoyable first half. Not necessarily if you're from Donegal, but there's a long, long way to go. Kerry at the break in the 2025 All-Ireland final, lead by 17 points to 10.
There are some survivors from their 2014 win over Donegal. Not that man, of course, he wasn't around at that stage. This man was, but back in 2014, Kerry had scored 111 by the time the full-time whistle went. At the moment, at half-time, they're already past that. 17 points for the Kingdom, including that late two-pointer from David Clifford. Donegal with 10 points. Peter, there are so many things that you three all suggested would come to pass in this opening half, including what you said would be the positioning of David Clifford. But would you take us through how Kerry have set up to make all of this happen in the opening half?
Yeah, well, Kerry were expecting Donegal to get a lot of bodies back. They were expecting them to play in the zonal shape. So if David Clifford had stayed inside, he would have got very little opportunity to score. So he's happy enough to wander out the pitch to try where the pockets of space are. And there his two midfielders, the big men, Sean O'Brien, Mark O'Shea, they're coming in to occupy that space and to try and occupy more. Mike Breen is coming in. So there were occasions where there were 6 Kerry players inside the 13-metre line and to leave space for the Sean O'Sheas, for the Gavin White to exploit, and Paddy Clifford. We've highlighted David again. Where is he? It's a Kerry attack. He's close to his own 45, taking his man out there, and other Kerry players doing the business. Now David has come into the game surely But this has been a clear... There, David outside again. Kerry on the attack. 3 men inside. Don't really want the ball. If the ball is kicked in and it goes short, then they'll compete for it. But it's to try and create that pocket of space, and it's working really well from a Kerry point of view.
What's incredible, Peter, is the freedom Seanie O'Shea and Paudie Clifford are having. They're dictating everything around the middle third, and then as a result...
Because they're not being man-marked.
Not being man-marked, and I understand the dilemma by man-marking them by giving more space, but Clifford's not inside doing that, so by allowing your 2 best ball players to play football at such ease, it's crazy.
Peter used the phrase that David Clifford has come into it. Is it more a case that he's happy to be out of it, as Peter showed, and then when he gets the opportunity, or even when it looks like he doesn't have the opportunity, he's able to put those over the bar?
7 points is...
Yeah, he's brilliant, Joanne. He's having a huge effect on the game. I think Kerry have brought a physicality, they've brought a work rate, they are chasing, harrying, trying to get set on the opposition kickouts as quick as they can. They're really accurate in their attacking play, but then when you have the icing on the cake with this fella who's able to do this, and Donegal were in 6s and 7s, they were struggling with their own kick out. I think Shane Ryan has been absolutely powerful down the other side on his restart. We spoke about the importance of possession in the game, but they have not been turned over by Donegal. I would say Jim McGuinness is livid with how accurate and how clever Kerry. They haven't brought it into contact once. Clifford, we expected to come out. Donegal probably wanted him in the space inside, getting cluttered up. He's clever, he knows it, and he could change it up in the second half, Joanne, and go back inside. Donegal, I still wouldn't be as confident. I still think that if Donegal get a little bit of momentum going, get a couple of scores, but they need to change it, because when Kerry have possession, they're on it, and they're excellent.
Well, we did see that, didn't we, from Donegal, Lee, because they had that little surge midway through that first half.
Yeah, Kerry seemed to get a bit sloppy in the second quarter there, and Donegal got a small little purple patch. Again, I agree with the lads, kickouts, Kerry are just dominating. But here's a good clip. Now, Conor Donald, I think, has had a brilliant second quarter. He's had 2 brilliant points, goes directly to Kerry defence. Known for his left footer, but that's a lovely right footer point at a crucial stage, and he's got 2 really good points. For me, this is a nothing ball from Joe O'Connor to Clifford. He puts him in a 3v1 situation, and we know Donegal, they love that type of situation. They go on the counter-attack, and then as a result here, they get it to the big guy, Michael Murphy. And what I love about this clip, Ron, is he identifies Paul Murphy as his 1v1. He sees that, takes him on, and curls over a lovely right footer point. Again, at a really crucial stage to get Donegal back into the game. And for me, this is something that Donegal haven't brought enough of. That kind of insane pressure that we always associate with them. Foley gets it to Murphy. Murphy looks up. He doesn't see an option on. You can see the bodies getting on top of him. And then a sloppy hand pass. Gets it to Gallen. Gallen to Murphy. And again, it's a simple point. But we're not seeing enough of it. And one other thing to tell you before I go. We're on about support cast. We haven't seen it from Donegal yet, but we've seen it from Kerry.
There's a lot more players on the Kerry side playing better. The Joe O'Connors, the Brian Begleys, Gavin White started really, really well. Unless Donegal actually hop with a couple of 2-pointers and a goal, I'd still be favouring Kerry.
And of course, it is the year of the big swings and the big comebacks in second halves. Is that what's going to happen in this All-Ireland final? Find out in a few minutes. Live coverage of the Galway races starts on RT2 tomorrow. Then next weekend we have the National Athletics Championships. A week after that, the Dublin Horse Show and the Euro Hockey Championships, all topped off with the All-Ireland Camogie final on August 10th. Let's go to Damien.
So much, Joanne. Paul and Ender with me. Just Hugh McFadden was looking like he was going to come on very, very quickly. You were making the point, Paul, if Donegal are to have any hope here, is this third quarter into the scoring end.
Yeah, big time. They have to get the game back played on their terms. They have to get their kick out right. They have to get their turnovers and that little bit of efficiency up front. They've 6 turnovers in attack. That's not like them. They need to get that efficiency right, because this third quarter is where it's going to happen. If Kerry get a couple of points here, this game is over from them.
Yeah, the mood of the Kerry boys coming in, we were close to it on the sideline. Like, you could just see them buoyant. Even David Clifford was putting his arm around his shoulder, a few of them. Their first 19 minutes. I haven't seen anything like it in the All-Ireland final. They were unbelievable. They gave away 1 turnover in that spell, and I think it was 13-4 at that stage. Donegal did settle it. Kerry stepped off it a wee bit. Have Donegal got it back enough? 7 points still in it. this is the end for the 2 pointers.
At half-time, Kerry had to hold their ground, let Donegal in first, but Kerry players wanted to thunder into that. They didn't want to yield ground for anybody. My point to you, can Donegal lift themselves out of this little mini slumber that they're in almost, Paul?
Big time, and it was really that first 15 minutes where they weren't at it, and I could see it in the warm-up, or before the warm-up even, like just when they came out, the parade, they broke away early, they were looking to activate themselves. I think they overthought that a little bit. They can get into this game, 100%. This Donegal team are a phenomenal team, and the question is, can Kerry keep that level of performance going? So if Donegal can wrestle back a bit of the control of the possession, they haven't had as many attacks, they haven't had as many shots. If they can get into this game in this third quarter, 7 points, you can break that gap.
They need to build the base. They have to get Shane Ryan's kickouts more under control. We heard from the sideline they were shouting to go zonal after about 7-8 minutes to go zonal and try and block off these corners. If they get a score, it's critical that they get the second and third score to close the gap.
And Kerry have been excellent on Patton's kick out, absolutely phenomenal. But look, we know both teams have bench strengths. It's about now who can come on and change this game. Can someone come off? Can Paddy McBurdy come on? Can someone come on and give life to this Donegal performance?
Thanks, gents. Enjoy the second half. We had a situation in the noughties, Joanne, where Henry Shefflin was on the ball for 16 seconds and scored 1-7-1-8. It's looking like this for David Clifford already.
That is a brilliant point there. And you heard Damien mention that Hugh McFadden was warming up. He is coming on, and Caelan McColgan is the man he's going to replace. You heard them talk about what Donegal can do. Is it a case of just executing better their game plan?
Absolutely. So unlike Donegal, the way they have played, the way they've coughed up possession. First of all, Michael Murphy gave the ball away cheap. Roarty had a shot that was never on. Kieran Thompson carried it into trouble. Kickouts, normally they're very good on winning possession, winning opposite, so they're struggling. Now, they put Langan on to Joe Connor to address that, and it looks as if they're bringing Hugh McFadden on just to secure more possession. And if they can secure more possession, they are shooting with the breeze. They are going to have Niall O'Donnell and Paddy McBurdy coming off the bench. So they're still very much in this game, but they have to get back playing it the way they can play it.
But,
so,
Peter, if you look at it, breaking ball, Kerry are beating them 9-2. Kickouts, Kerry are on top of them. Kerry have scored 7 points from turning them over 7 times. Like, Kerry physically, outside of that purple patch that Donegal hit, are answering every question. And then in possession, way more efficient. Way more.
Even if they break 50-50, Tomas, and the last play in that game could be so crucial. Donegal had an attack. They were 5 down. They kicked the ball away when they didn't have the 2 minutes. Kerry held on to possession, ran the clock down, and kicked a 2-pointer. So they're now 7 up when they could have been going in 4 up. So
and
again,
still, because of the new rules, you don't feel confident. I don't feel fully confident. I think it's there for Kerry if they want it, if they stick to doing what they're doing on kickouts especially, and restarts and the work rate. But you'd still be worried because of the new rules and 2-pointers or whatever, the momentum swing, that Donegal can still get back into this.
Because Donegal are such a third quarter team, like, so this is a massive
Kerry's not bad at it.
Kerry's not bad, yeah, but Donegal put such an emphasis on third quarter.
Well, but I might remind you, as Peter was trying to do, Kerry's last 2 games, the first 5 minutes their opposition played well, and then Kerry just slaughtered them.
But Paul Gainey, we talk about benches. McBrearty is huge. I think a lot of Kerry people thought Gainey would actually start. I think it's now going to turn out to be a great decision to hold him and have an impact.
Dermot O'Connor, come on.
Well, he played in the game, as far as I know, last weekend, so I'd imagine that if he's right, he'll come in as well.
If things start to go against them in the middle of the park, you can be guaranteed that he's going to be introduced, and that could be a big lift.
But with Jim McGuinness, lads, this is the fear in Kerry, that this fella will throw something. We haven't seen it in the first half. I'm thinking right now, Monaghan half-time and what Donegal did in the second half. You just don't, well, I don't want to see that happening.
You never rule them out, but never.
They had no shots for 2-pointers in the first half. Kerry had 11. So you can be guaranteed with that breeze and shooting in the canal end, Donegal are going to get opportunities for 2-pointers.
Well, Kerry had quietened that Donegal crowd for some period during the first half. They found their voices again. Let's see if Donegal can justify that as we go back to Eamon and Dara.
Joanne, thank you very much indeed. So the 2 teams back out on the field. Doesn't look like there are any changes. Kerry kept waiting a little bit by Donegal. But this next 15 minutes, this could be the game. This could be the All-Ireland final. The championship started 113 days ago. So many people talking about a draw here in extra time. So there is a Donegal substitution. I'll confirm that in a minute. But Kerry on the attack straight away. Hugh McFadden is on. Caelan McColgan has gone off. So Hugh McFadden on, named to start, of course, but left out of the team by Jim McGuinness. Here is Shawnee O'Shea for 1 point for the first score of the second half, and he's nailed it. That's a perfect score for them, and they grow the lead with the first attack of the second half.
Yeah, both Gavin White came in that similar kind of a move again. He took 2 huge collisions. Ryan McHugh has similarly got a big bang there. The medics are out checking them, but Ryan McHugh seems to have come off the worst of it all right. Second time that set play worked very well for Kerry Dara.
Yeah, it sure is. So with the stoppage for treatment, there's Hugh McFadden.
Unbon Gallagher's gone back cornerback, and Dylan Gainey now with that reshuffle where you have Keelan McConaughey playing centre back. He'll drop away from there.
That was the collision with Gavin White. Hugh McFadden's 51st championship appearance, so Ryan McHugh has to leave the field of play and will come back in, and there is a break in play. They had a lot to talk about, and I'm sure it was a calm dressing room led by Jim McGuinness. Still an awful lot of football left to be played on the biggest day of the year. Sean Patton, his 101st appearance for his county today. Still only 29. So Ryan McHugh is still off the field of play. Patton goes right down the middle. Michael Murphy touched it down, but that happened a lot in the first half. They got touches on it, but it broke for Kerry. Gavin White.
They're reading it brilliantly, Dara. They're not getting sucked into the dummy runs. They know where it's going. They're reading it. They're getting the bodies in around the breaks, and it's working very well for them. Similar to what they did against Tyrone and Niall Morgan's long ones.
So Paddy Clifford, we saw this so often during the first half. Brendan McCole is still marking David Clifford. That's him up there on the 20-metre line in front of the Cusick stand. Paddy Clifford. Doing up the Oakleague. Paddy Clifford. David thought about the move, and look at that. There was a slip from McCole, and Clifford's in. That was beautiful. How many times have they done that in the back garden over the years?
That was gorgeous, brilliant. They looked for it. It would remind you of the pass that Gooch put inside in the 2013 game against Dublin, waited for the move, gave it inside. That's the thing when you're sitting off players of the quality of Paddy Clifford, Johnny Shea, they'll pick those passes.
8 points for David Clifford.
All from play, Dara.
Need you say more? Dara O'Wheel, the Donegal response, the reply. They are not going to go out of this lying down. Kieran Moore. Michael Langan from St. Michael's. Ryan McHugh is back on. Michael Murphy gets away from Foley. Turned back into trouble. There was help there from Joe O'Connor. Advantage being played for Donegal. Shane O'Donnell. O'Donnell takes the shot. And it's gone wide, and we go back for the free. So his team are 9 points down. We haven't mentioned Brendan Cawley, the Kildare referee, taking charge of his first All-Ireland senior final, which from a referee's perspective is usually a good thing. That's why the free was given, or the advantage was being played.
Yeah, similar to the one on Paddy Clifford and Finbar Roarty in the first half. It probably balanced it off. It was a soft enough one.
Michael Murphy with Donegal's first point of the second half. And again, you can just hear the huge Donegal crowd here. They are dying to get stuck into this match and this occasion. Patrick McBrearty, their captain. We're going to see him shortly. Shane Ryan. That was broken away from Mark O'Shea. Donegal have the Kerry kick out. Conor O'Donnell. Feeling McGonigal was just trying to get out of his way. Here's Shane O'Donnell. Michael Murphy stays out wide. So whatever gentle breeze there is favouring Donegal. Dara O'Wheel, lovely feet, turned back in. Sean O'Shea was the player in front of him.
He was outstanding at 2-pointers during the league, Dara O'Wheel, so I wouldn't be surprised if he'd have popped 1 or 2 here in the second half.
Well, Kerry, as you heard, had 11 attempts at 2-pointers during the first half. Shane O'Donnell. Hugh McFadden is ahead of him. Oisin Gallant ran straight into Joe O'Connor, and then it's a battle, and it's a free in. Donegal get the free in. And now we're talking about the referee. The Kerry supporters don't like this call.
Macaulay saying Jason holding the arms. I think Oisin Gallant was clever enough in terms of grasping onto the arm as well to win the free. But look, for a back, you have to get the hand in and out, and the lads know that. If you're leaving the hand in, you're giving the referee a chance to make the call, just as he did.
We're not going to see Patrick McBrearty just yet. It's going to be Jason McGee. So Michael Murphy to chip away at that Kerry lead.
Feeling it could be Ryan McHugh going off here after that collision. Score, seems to be carrying his shoulder a bit.
Yeah, it is Ryan McHugh, and his right hand is just directly down by his side. So that is a shame for Ryan McHugh.
Yeah, he took a huge collision, all right, that time. Gavin White was coming at pace. He stood his ground.
So Ryan's afternoon is over. So both teams scoring 2 points in the second half. Shane Ryan spotted the movement from Seanie O'Shea.
Yeah, it was excellent, and Paul Murphy pulled White to open up the pocket as well, so that he had a straight kick out.
Dylan Casey enjoying his first final. Dylan Gainey, Paddy Clifford, Graham O'Sullivan, and then Joe O'Connor. David Clifford in a more central position. Donegal keeping, as you can see where they're keeping their pressure, it is outside the 40-metre arc, but Kerry allowed to have the ball in this area without too much to worry about. Gavin White, Mike Breen. So Seanie O'Shea was playing like a left corner forward, and now Gavin White has replaced him.
Yeah, Jim McGuinness is having a major conflab with all his management here below. Stara, he called them all out there. Wonder they're discussing possibly putting someone on Paddy Clifford to try and stimmy his influence some bit. In the league game in Killarney, Finn Barrourty picked him up for lots of that game.
That's a game that Donegal won. It was back in February. Bringing up Hugh Lee. Paddy Clifford. And Mike Breen. Again, Kerry doing things on their terms. David Clifford was the total decoy, and Brendan McCole, well, his job is to mark him, and that's exactly what he was doing. Not too bothered about the ball unless it comes near David Clifford. Now Kerry being made to work a little bit, but they're picking their way through this intense Donegal cover. It's lovely from Sean O'Brien. Paddy Clifford free again. Clifford with the score. That is a brilliant, brilliant team score, and it just sums up what that team are all about.
It was outstanding. It was football that won it for them there and got that score there, because Donegal smelled blood in the corner. They went after it. Dylan Gainey danced away in the first place and opened it up, and every player made sure that they weren't grabbing the ball to become targets for tackling. Basically ended up with Paddy, finished it. Excellent score, great football.
In any game, you saw it last week, you want to be doing things on your terms and dictating the way the match is going. Kerry have done that up to this point in the game. Jason Foley, that was Hugh McFadden who ended up on the ground. Oisin Gallant turning the ball over almost, and now it's Michael Murphy. They need some inspiration, some magic. 8 points is an awful long way away from Kerry, even with 2 pointers and all that sort of thing. Michael Langan, Darrow Boyle. Owen Van Gallagher has gone in very close to Shane Ryan, and Sean O'Brien, the Kerry midfielder, has gone with him. Michael Langan. Conor O'Donnell. Oisin Gallant. There are players who we've seen them score 2-pointers all year. This will be for one though from Michael Langan, and he's just blasted that one wide. That's only their second wide, but it took a lot of effort to get them into that position. Shorter kick out, Paul Murphy. That did it not. I don't think it breached the 40-metre arc. He took the ball inside the arc, so that's a potential issue for Kerry. It's a free, certainly, for Michael Murphy.
Yeah, it was a margin one, but Paul Murphy was right to do that. I've made that point in the past era. Players earlier on in the season were letting the forward win it rather than go at it. It's a tough free for Michael Murphy from there. If he kicks it, fair play to him, but at least by not surrendering possession, you're not giving up the goal chance. So good decision from Paul Murphy. Shane Ryan left him just short.
Well, if anybody can from here, it's this man. You spotted as well the intense deliberations down on the Donegal sideline, led by manager Jim McGuinness. So the mistake at kick-out time for Kerry. Michael Murphy trying to punish them and succeeding too, and if anyone can, Michael can. So back to where we were at half-time. 7 is the lead that Kerry have.
Yeah, good score for Michael Murphy from such a tight angle. Michael Langan had the wide just before that as well there. He's been peripheral enough for such a huge player. Here he is about to catch it. Now he's maybe coming into the game.
Yeah. Here come Donegal. Shawnee O'Shea. There's a foul against him. Advantage being played, and we're going to get the free now as Keelan McGonigal ran straight at him. Going fast now. Conor O'Donnell for Donegal, and they're on a bit of a roll. That's their 4th point. Outscoring Kerry since the match restarted. It's better from Donegal.
Shane Ryan has the ball down fast again to try and get a quick one away. He hasn't been able to. Brilliant catch of Mike Langan. I was just mentioning that he hadn't been influencing matters. Conor O'Donnell continuing with his excellent game. Great score from him.
6 points now. Breaks kindly for Kerry's Mike Breen. Paul Murphy. Management meeting for Donegal is still going on, and they've got to be talking about this fella. And what do we do about Paddy?
Yeah, momentarily off the ball there. Kieran Moore had gone back on him in the 3 up, but they're still staying loyal to their zonal setup, and he's drifted back into his usual position there, Kieran Moore.
20 points to 14. Last year's final, the score was 111 to 13. Shawnee O'Shea. Paddy Clifford. The Donegal fans doing their best to lift their team. They're clawing their way closer. Shawnee O'Shea. Oh, there's some space, a lot of space for Dylan Gainey. In that Donegal defensive system, you just don't expect that to happen. And Dylan Gainey was just all on his own.
Yeah, look, he's an excellent forward. I had him in school, Dara. He's a great finisher. We haven't seen enough of it from so far this year. Because of the obsession with the likes of David Clifford, he's getting space. Donegal away here in their kick-out.
At pace, Darragh O'Brien. Options left and right. O'Brien still carrying it. Joe O'Connor just left him alone. They come back out to Conor O'Donnell, and Donegal. Brilliant counter-attack. They've been doing that all year. We just haven't seen enough of it from them so far today.
You mentioned Joe O'Connor there. It was actually brilliant from him, Dara, because if he had committed to the Darragh O'Brien break, could have been passed inside. I think it was Keelan McGonigal that had made the run inside, whereas, again, happy to give up the point in that situation, but not a goal.
Haven't had too many goal chances, if any. So far, that's up there for Sean O'Brien, and what a catch from Jason McGee. He's arrived at the All-Ireland final. And Donegal continue to drag themselves back into this game. Oisin Gallen, Jason McGee. 6 points the deficit. Finbar Rorty. This is their 11th game. Michael Langan. Shane O'Donnell turned back in, then gets it back onto his left. Another score for Donegal. They're figuring it out.
They are, and Jason McGee is a big addition. He's come on, he's contesting kickouts. He won that one, ended up setting it up. The O'Donnells, both Shane and Conor, are having massive games. Something for Kerry to think about.
And you're going to hear a massive roar now. Patrick McBrearty, about to play in his 3rd final.
And I think Kerry are looking as well straight away for a substitution. Looks like maybe, is it Evan Looney that's coming up?
That's out for Joe O'Connor. Oh, and he's got it. And Joe's on his bike. Off he goes. He has this ability to go quick and then get even faster. But 2 Donegal men around him. Hugh McFadden got close. Ball turned over. Again, a massive roar around Croke Park from the Donegal supporters. Kieran Moore. Michael Murphy. Shane O'Donnell. They are 5 points behind. Shane O'Donnell. Pater Mogan. O'Shane Gallen is going to go off for Patrick McBrearty. Pater Mogan. It's good possession for Donegal. It's got to be a score at the end of it to keep that momentum. 4 out of the last 5 points blocked down, and Joe O'Connor punches the air in delight. He was the player who was turned over, and he helps with the defensive effort. And now it is Patrick McBrearty, his 82nd championship appearance. Dermot O'Connor is going to come in for Kerry. Donegal have a line ball. So Dermot O'Connor has the tracksuit top off. He's wearing number 26. Confirmation of the McBrearty introduction. Conor O'Donnell to Shane O'Donnell. Plenty of space in the D. Patrick McBrearty on, determined to hit the ground running. McBrearty has put that wide. It's wide from Patrick McBrearty. Sean O'Brien off the Kerry team. Dermot O'Connor is a huge sub to be able to bring on and gets a welcome to the game. Well, look, that's understandable.
Well, Langan knew that he's coming on with a shoulder injury and he was testing him out straight away, but in a way it's good for Dermot O'Connor to know that that's been tested out. The way he goes now, hopefully it isn't similar to the Cavan game where it popped out again almost straight away.
Jack O'Connor involved in his 10th senior final as a manager or selector. He was the minor manager in 2014 for that final here. Paul Murphy just dived on the ball. Shawnee O'Shea. Space for Brian O'Buglee. Michael Murphy surging back towards him. Here come Kerry. Paudie Clifford. We've over 20 minutes to go, thankfully. Graham O'Sullivan beside Paudie Clifford. David Clifford still out
Dermot
of it
O'Connor
over on the far side.
inside.
Dermot O'Connor wasn't picked up. He is now been picked up by Keelan McGonigal. Shawnee O'Shea.
Great kick from Shawnee O'Shea to relieve the pressure in the first half to Brian O'Buglee to open the whole thing up, Dara.
Gavin White, trapped by Kieran Moore. They've got 6 out of the last 8 points, Donegal. Stretching back to the 38th minute. That was their first point of the second half. Just 5 separate the teams. Paudie Clifford right down the middle, running straight at the Donegal cover. Quick hands to Shawnee O'Shea. Gets away from Rorty. Has to check back out. Dylan Gainey. Shawnee O'Shea. Gavin White is now in closest to Sean Patton. Brian O'Buglee. Here's David Clifford at close quarters with Brendan McCole. Paudie Clifford with the freedom of Croke Park. Shawnee O'Shea. Hugh McFadden there beside him. Jason McGee, the other substitute. Brian O'Buglee in tight, 21 metres away, and O'Buglee has missed. That's wide. 5 of them they've kicked.
Yeah, looked like a borderline late tackle when McBrearty was being brought on.
Here on Moore, pushed in the back by Gavin White. He just couldn't avoid the temptation.
When McBrearty was coming on, Luke Barrett, the Donegal coach, had a word with Darragh O'Boyle, and either himself or Mogan seemed to be picking up Paudie Clifford a bit more aggressively. When Kerry are attacking now, they're not giving him the same space.
Conor O'Donnell, such a stylish footballer. Michael Murphy ended up on the ground. A foul by Jason Foley. Free in, and they'll have a chance to trim it down to 4. In the 42nd minute, it was an 8-point lead for Kerry. This will be for 1 point. They're figuring it out.
They are big time.
So now Michael Murphy the officials are tracking a bit of a flashpoint between the two number 26s, Jason McGee and Diarmuid O'Connor. Michael Murphy does his stuff at free time. And now it's down to 4. Just when we thought that it was slipping away from Donegal, particularly when it was an 8-point game in the 42nd minute. Donegal with 7 second-half points, Kerry with 4. And that is a foul on... a Kerry foul against Jason McGee on Diarmuid O'Connor. So the referee will keep an eye on the two of them. Killian Spillane, they need a bounce up front. They want a bounce up front, and they always get that from Killian Spillane. Mike Breen. Gavin White. Joe O'Connor. And White's got in around the back. Brilliant from Gavin White. Goes with the fist. Absolutely superb. Remember the way he started the game? He was just different class, and he's back at it again, the Kerry captain. 5 points is the lead. Killian Spillane is on, replacing Dylan Gainey.
Yeah, fantastic from Gavin White. A captain's point. Kerry needed a score there, and he just opened up from in front of him, went and finished.
So Killian Spillane, well, 26th time to come on as a substitute. 31st championship game.
They're clearing out the space in front of Murphy, trying to get this one set up for him, but he screwed it.
And it's a brilliant catch by Jason McGee. Michael Murphy is behind him. Finbar Rorty. Here is Murphy. Michael Langan. Serious contest this is now. 5 points between the teams. Jason McGee. McGee, advantage been played, free in. And Kerry are being forced to give away fouls and concede frees in really good positions for Michael Murphy.
Yeah, in fairness to Jason McGee, brilliant catch in the first place, because I think Patton was probably going for Michael Murphy, but Jason McGee being on the field now gives him that second target for those big long kickouts. We see him winning it there. He ended up being inside as well. Kerry, as you've mentioned it, Dara, they need to tidy up defensively at the back. They're getting to the point of the tackles, but they're leaving the hands in and they're fouling.
So Michael Murphy with his 5th point of the second half. It's 4 again. What will the Kerry reaction be? Donegal 5 points from frees in the second half. That tells its own story of the pressure they've been able to put on the Kerry defence. 15 minutes to go in the 2025 All-Ireland Senior Football Final. Kerry led by 7 at half-time, and that has come off Hugh McFadden. McBrearty keeps it in play, but gave it straight to Paul Murphy. A gift of possession for Kerry. They don't need too many of those. Diarmuid O'Connor from Naguail, and off he goes right down the middle. Graham O'Sullivan will run all day, and it's Diarmuid O'Connor again. O'Connor, you can see the strapping he has on both shoulders, visible just under the sleeves of the jersey, and well, Kerry can take their time over this free. Delighted to be awarded it for this. So they've got the ball back in motion. Mike Breen, Joe O'Connor, Shawnee O'Shea, Hugh McFadden there, nothing wrong, according to Brendan Cawley. Mike Breen. Gavin White. Running straight at Conor O'Donnell. White has been turned over, but Paddy Clifford backed him up and saved his bacon. And that's a free in. And Mogan and O'Donnell can't believe it. Brendan Cawley decided they were hanging on to Paddy Clifford. That is a bit of a gift for Kerry.
Yeah, it's similar to the other side, Dara. He's given those ones. If you're leaving the hands in, if you're not taking them out, it's consistent refereeing, so...
Neil McGee, Colin McFadden and Jim McGuinness, and Shane Ryan has come forward to take this. The flags that are behind the Hill 16 goal, there's a bit of a flutter off them, but not hugely significant, but Shane Ryan has been called forward to have a go at this. It's for 2 points. Again, the numbers have gone well for Donegal in the second half so far, outscoring Kerry 4 out of the last 5 points. Shane Ryan has 4 points to his name in the 2025 championship, and he slipped, and it's easy possession for Keelan McGonigal. And Ryan, well, he's going to get back between the sticks. There'll be no mad pressure on him, but that was a let-off for Donegal, and it's still a 4-point game in the final. Peadar Mogan, Donegal's number 4. Patrick McBrearty hugging this near sideline. Missed his first effort. Was brilliant when he came on against Meath in the semi-final. Conor O'Donnell has seen a lot of ball for Donegal, look threatening, and does look threatening. Shane O'Donnell the same. O'Donnell, Paul Murphy there in front of him, and here is Conor O'Donnell. Oh, and he's put it wide. He's put it wide. It stays at 4.
Yeah, very unlike him, and especially the way he's finishing today. That was much more like a typical Donegal setup in terms of wrapping around, supporting each other, opening up the kick for one of their shooters in the end, and Conor O'Donnell, who's had a great day, missed that one.
Donegal are bringing Jamie Brennan in. Gavin White, safe pair of hands from the kick out from Shane Ryan. Brian O'Buglee. Dylan Casey, Tawdy Clifford, and Graham O'Sullivan. Tawdy again. There was a little bit of a gap there, and Tawdy gets the foul, coming together with Peadar Mogan. Kieran Moore was close enough to it as well. And Shane Ryan's coming forward again. This all wastes some seconds as well.
Yeah, interesting. I'd nearly expect Shawnee Shea to take control of this one, to be honest.
He actually is. So Shane Ryan ran up to his own 65-metre line, but Shawnee O'Shea was kind of going, I'm sorry, I just want this. Remember his kick against Dublin from, and it gets longer by metres every year. So Jamie Brennan is on, and it is Owen Van Gallagher who is going the other way. So Donegal have used all 5 of their substitutes.
They're not going to die wondering anyway, no. Dara.
You saw that the shots we've shown you of the Donegal management team, they have tried everything. They've thrown the lot at Kerry in the second half, and it's brought them to within 4. That can be pushed out to 5 or 6 now, and Shawnee O'Shea has done just that for 2 points from the free. Shawnee O'Shea was never going to let Shane Ryan have a go at that. It's for 2, it's good, and now it's a 6-point game again. Massive moment in the match. Here come Kerry again.
Jimmy Brennan's positioning is interesting as well, Dara. He's playing out the field, so expect him to use that burst of pace he has in terms of trying to get through the middle part of the field.
The 2-point free, massive for Kerry. We're heading towards the last 10 minutes. Okay, Donegal have got the ball back. They put a huge effort into the second half, Donegal, but they're only 1 point better off than they were at the break, and it's taken a huge amount of energy. Here's Jason McGee, still no goal in the 25 final. Conor O'Donnell, Patrick McBrearty, Darrow Boyle. O'Boyle, this is for 1, it's inside the 40-metre arc, and O'Boyle missed. Well, look, you can't score everything, but that's now 5 wides, and they're coming at times and it just drains the confidence away from them. Jim McGuinness not showing a huge amount of emotion. Shane Ryan. That was Diarmuid O'Connor, and this is Gavin White. We've said that a lot today. Paudie Clifford wants to move quickly. Graham O'Sullivan not getting ahead of him. Paudie Clifford can go right or left. Joe O'Connor is there, and Clifford goes with the fist to tap on another point. And there's the 7-point cushion restored. It was that way at half-time, and now there's just 10 minutes left.
Gavin White is playing outstanding again today, Dara. He won that break. He's done it repeatedly. He's driven forward, gave the pass to Paudie. He went and finished it, his 3rd point from play.
Conor O'Donnell for Donegal. Michael Langan. Shane O'Donnell. That's Conor O'Donnell. Hugh McFadden has gone in close to goal. Mark O'Shea is there with them. They're two of the giants of these respective teams. Jason McGee is pretty tall as well. Patrick McBrearty. There is still time for Donegal, and time for Kerry to really make this a coronation. Look at David Clifford now back in the defensive system. Joe O'Connor is one of the 3 Kerry players left forward. So David Clifford, we heard all year, enjoying his football, really enjoying it. Now part of their defensive shape. Hugh McFadden, Finbar Rorty, Shane O'Donnell, Michael Murphy, quick hands, slick hands. Darragh O'Bweel, he could have put Rorty in around the back. Darragh O'Bweel, and O'Bweel was put under pressure. That has to draw back in, and he's managed to do it. That's a fantastic finish from Darragh O'Bweel. It looked like he had been put off right at the end. Point number 19.
Yeah, excellent score from him to have the courage. He's missed 2, Darren, to kick it on his weaker left side. Great score from Darragh O'Bweel, and it keeps Donegal. They're just not going away. They won't go away. They'll keep battling till the very end.
Well, a 2-pointer or 2 required at this stage, or maybe even a 3. Jason Foley, and that's a mistake at kick-out time. Shane Ryan, he has that ability to go off left and right. Look, it's the problem. They don't always work, and Donegal have got the ball. Kerry are making a substitution. That was very close to being an important turnover. Evan Looney will be in now for Brian O'Buglee. It's for Kerry. David Clifford inside the final 8 minutes. Shawnee O'Shea at walking pace. Probably going to see a lot of that. Patrick McBrearty was just beckoning towards some of his teammates inside the 40-metre arc to come out and try and engage them here, because this is where they need to turn them over. They can't be on their heels waiting for the likes of Joe O'Connor to run at them, and here he goes again. Joe got that one wrong. It's wide by a good distance, but Donegal have the ball back.
Yeah, Donegal are going to have to push out and go in Kerry's face for the rest of the game there when they're attacking, but obviously that leaves those kind of opportunities open then, where Joe O'Connor was able to go at Jamie Brennan.
So Evan Looney is in. He's another Dr. Croke's man. So that change has been made.
Kieran Moore is wide open over here in front of us for the kick out.
Sean Patton isn't looking at him at the moment. He's probably scanned over there anyway. So bringing up Ugly.
They've the 3 big men forward in terms of Langan, McGee and Michael Murphy, so just going towards McGee.
They've got to get the ball to them. Sean Patton's very high and very long. That was touched down by Joe O'Connor, but Donegal have it. They need some magic. Michael Langan right down the middle. There was no foul there. He was convinced, Michael Langan, that he would see the right arm of the referee up in the air, but that wasn't the case. Gavin White for Kerry. Michael Murphy coming at him at pace. Shawnee O'Shea playing like a fullback. Paul Murphy beside him. Mike Breen has gone down injured. That's the Kerry man you see in the centre of the picture. Evan Looney. Last 7 minutes. Shawnee O'Shea for David Clifford, and Clifford for once loses out to Brendan McCole, who showed brilliant determination to stick with the task.
Yeah, Kerry are down a man at the moment with Mike Breen out of play. Dara Tyke Morley's going to come on.
Breen has received treatment and is slotted back in to the play. Kerry want to bring Tyke Morley on, as Eamon said. So this is Conor O'Donnell. Finbar Rorty. He may as well have a go for 2. Keelan McGonigal has dropped that in short towards Michael Murphy. And Murphy brilliantly marked by Jason Foley. The ball comes back out. Kerry waiting for a stoppage in play to get Morley on the field. Graham O'Sullivan. David Clifford lost out to Brendan McCole. That isn't repeated, doesn't happen 2 times in a row. Clifford one way, then the other. Clifford off his right boot. He wants his masterpiece, and today could be the day. It really could, with just over 5 minutes to go.
Yeah, great ball inside from Graham Sullivan. David, when he got it, as you mentioned, they have it here again, Dara. Goal.
Here they go again. David Clifford can finish it now. Patton's out of his line. David Clifford stopped off the line. Wow, absolutely brilliant by Conor O'Donnell. How important will that be? We haven't been talking about goal chances all day. This was huge.
Yeah, they had to finish it between David and Sean Shea. They had intercepted the kick out. They were in. Now, it's massive credit to Conor O'Donnell. He went back and got it back off the line.
But it's more time gone from a Donegal perspective, and indeed from a Kerry perspective, to get them over the 70-minute mark. Tadhg Morley was coming onto the field. He's now been told to just go back off. So it's a 45 for Shane Ryan after the Conor O'Donnell goal line clearance. So he slipped on the last one, Ryan. Ryan has missed that one. 26 points to 19. Mike Breen take it off. Jack O'Connor minutes away from his 5th All-Ireland title as the manager of Kerry, his 3rd spell in charge. So Mike Breen is in no rush to leave the field of play. But Sean Patton has to wait for him, and he's just throwing his arms out by his side as if to say, where are the options? He's going to kick this as far as he possibly can, try and kick the leather off the ball. The clock starts again, and we've 5 minutes to go in the All-Ireland final. 26-19, that hangs up. McGee went after it. Kieran Moore has it for Donegal, the 22-year-old. Shane O'Donnell. Half-time lead restored. Darrow Wheel floats that in, but Michael Murphy never had a chance of getting to that. There were 3-4 Kerry players closest to the ball when it dropped. Graham O'Sullivan loses out to Finbar Rorty. They may get the kitchen sink and start throwing it at Kerry and just see what happens. Patrick McBrearty, will he try for 2? McBrearty will try for 2, and he's got under that one completely, but you never know. It's a difficult one for the forwards, difficult one for the backs, not though for Evan Looney. Looney staying very calm. That's Mark O'Shea. O'Shea just always seems to do the simple thing. Tadhg Clifford, there's 2 Kerry men down injured. 4 minutes left. Clifford belts it up in the air. Graham O'Sullivan. Killian Spillane is ahead of him. Peadar Mogan is there. O'Sullivan decides to try and get around the side of Peadar Mogan. Killian Spillane. Seanie O'Shea. Tadhg Morley. Perfect for Kerry to have the ball. It poses the problem for Donegal. They've got to come out and try and get it off them. Tadhg Morley forced sideways. Darrow Wheel is trying to get it off Tadhg Morley. There was no foul. Diarmuid O'Connor. Kerry are going to bring Tom Leo O'Sullivan in at the next opportunity. But this is just perfect for them to have hold of the ball. Donegal, well, they're just saying to them, you've got to get it back off us, lads. Evan Looney.
Yeah, and they are pushing out, to be fair, Dara. They're gone 1-on-1 all over the place now as they have to.
Gavin White. Killian Spillane. Still they hang on. They had a 7-point cushion at half-time. David Clifford scored 7 points in the first half. Evan Looney, Finbar Rorty behind him. Tadhg Clifford, brilliant bounce. Rorty didn't know what was going on there. Here's Evan Looney, Graham O'Sullivan, and O'Sullivan doesn't catch hold of that. Sean Patton kept his eye on that all the time. Diarmuid O'Connor was a big distraction in front of him.
Yeah, the one thing you don't want to do from a Kerry perspective is do that. Graham O'Sullivan's had a massive 10 minutes. His legs have been huge to keep Kerry going forward, but you need to kill the ball in that situation.
Finbar Rorty, 2 minutes left. 7 points. Jamie Brennan, Kieran Moore. Brennan again to make it a 6-point game, and he hasn't done that. Shane Ryan caught it under the crossbar. And Kerry have got the ball back. And that's Patrick McBurgie who fouls Gavin White. And Kerry, as you could understand and as you would expect, they will be in no rush to get on with this. The clock is stopped anyway with about 90 seconds to go. The Kerry supporters around Croke Park, you can hear the celebration starting already. All-Ireland title number 39. And Tom Leo O'Sullivan is on for the last couple of minutes to replace Graham O'Sullivan, who's covered every blade of grass up and down both sides of Croke Park. And big smiles as he accepts the congratulations of Cian O'Neill and Jack O'Connor.
Micheál Burns is on as well, Dara. He snuck on there as well.
Yeah, Micheál Burns wearing number 22. Getting the last minute and a half on the field of play in the All-Ireland final. Michael Murphy, we mentioned at the top, he came back and worked unbelievably hard to get back in the shape of his life. But he came back to play in a match like this, the All-Ireland final. But he didn't just come back to play, he came back to win it. And it is not going to work out for them today. They got back to within 4 points with 15 minutes to go. We're in the last minute. And Kerry can just keep this now and cruise all the way to the winning line and another All-Ireland title. They're trying to finish with a flourish. Joe O'Connor. O'Connor, a goal! Remember his goal against Cork in the Munster semi-final? But Joe O'Connor, an all-star in the making, maybe more. Cue the celebrations. Kerry, with 30 seconds to go, are champions of Ireland again.
What a goal. You would have thought that they might have just chipped it over the bar at that stage, but Joe O'Connor hadn't scored today. He'd worked, he'd won breaks, he'd won kickouts, but when he got the chance, he wasn't going to miss. Fantastic finish.
Michael Langan, Conor O'Donnell. The roar around Croke Park is Kerry, Kerry, Kerry. O'Donnell blocked down. Gavin White there. He'll have a speech to do very shortly. But we mentioned at the top that football was rebranded, reborn. But the more it changes, the more it stays the same. And Kerry, under the new rules, are the All-Ireland champions for the 39th time. 2025 belongs to Jack O'Connor, a 5th All-Ireland title for him. And Kerry, well, they're just over the moon.
Incredible, Darrell. What a year it's been for them, where they've come from the Meath game. I'm delighted for the players. David Clifford, all the talk that was about him during the week, I'm delighted for him personally that he played so well today. Kerry produced some magic bursts of football during the game. They kept Donegal at arm's length for the whole game, and you mentioned it already, Jack O'Connor, fifth All-Ireland medal as a manager. We see the goal here, worked in. Thought he might punch it over the bar. No such thing from Joe O'Connor, back of the net. Fantastic finish. But a brilliant year for Kerry. Kerry have a habit, Dara, of winning the historically significant ones, 1984, 2000, 125 in 2009, and now this one under the new rules this year. So delighted as a Kerry person, obviously.
And David Clifford has his 2nd All-Ireland medal. Jack O'Connor has been here and done this before. Jim McGuinness, well, he spoke about how he was still heartbroken after the 2014 loss. This will hurt too. They got back to within 4 points with 15 minutes remaining, but just couldn't do it. And Kerry pushed for home. All-Ireland champions again. Confirmation of the full-time score at Croke Park in Dublin. Kerry 126, Donegal 19 points.
And so it's a League and All-Ireland double for Jack O'Connor, just like it was in 2004, 2006, 2009, 2022, and Tomás O'Shea now in 2025.
Phenomenal win, Joanne. Like Eamon mentioned it there, where they were against Meath, and there was questions asked by our own people, and I think that hurt Kerry more than anything else, that the criticism came from within the county. They've answered everything. They've had injuries, they've had everything, and what a huge performance today.
But of course they have outstanding performers every single day, including a man who's with Damien.
Paddy, congratulations to you. Just from the start of this game, you were absolutely electric right through until the very end. Could you see this display coming on the training ground in the last few weeks?
Our team has been together for a good few years now, and it's the first time, even though we won the All-Ireland in 2022, it was the first time ever we put a 70-minute performance together, and we're absolutely delighted with it.
And is there any reason for that, Paddy? Is it just a day that everything just clicked? Like, in terms of energy, intensity, accuracy, it was all there.
I suppose we would have put a lot of, like, would have put a lot of pressure on ourselves. We would be our own biggest critics, but like, we did feel disrespected. Like, we felt disrespected for a long time. A team that won the last 3 of the last 4 All-Irelands and have won 2 of the last 4. We felt very disrespected, being called a one-man team when you fellas like Joe O'Connor, fellas like Jason Foley have worked all their lives to play for Kerry, and you're called a one-man team because you haven't won every All-Ireland. So we felt disrespected, like.
Just in terms of all the matchups that Donegal had and all the players taking each other, tracking each other, all of that goes out the window on a day like today, Paddy. It was just the space, I suppose the shooting on sight. Was it something that maybe you kind of had to get your head tuned into it from the moment the ball was thrown in?
Yeah, exactly. Like, we knew what Donegal would bring, and we knew it would be unbelievable work rate. We just said we'd try and pick around them and try and take the right shots, even though we didn't really in the first half, we did in the second half. But we'd have to give massive credit to our midfielders and Shane Ryan. We had enough possession to be able to give a few balls away and maybe kick a few scores wide, but we still had enough ball.
Paddy, final question for you. Today, everything clicked. Coaching-wise, everything clicked. High performance, it's very hard to get a level like that. I suppose, how happy are you to have reached that summit?
Absolutely over the moon.
Thanks, Paddy. Back to you, Joanne.
On the pitch, and a mega interview, Peter Canavan from Paddy Clifford.
Well, if you're looking for a reason into their mentality coming into the game, there you had it, and summed up very well. They were coming in with an edge, and as I said before the game, so many pundits around the country were back in Donegal coming in. Didn't go unnoticed in the kingdom, but David was once again very good, but Paddy and so many others stood up today, and it was an immense performance from the Kerry men.
And Tomas O'Shea did say there would be others who are going to win this game for Kerry, and so it proved to be, of course. Mr. Clifford Jr., I should say, wasn't too bad either. You can hear in the background that they're getting ready to present Sam Maguire for the 39th time to the Kingdom. So back to Eamon and Dara.
Yeah, thank you, Joanne. The president of the GAA, Jarlath Burns, going through the formalities before the presentation.
Ladies and gentlemen, last year we took this game apart and then we took it together again. We wanted to make it more playable, more watchable and more enjoyable. I want to thank you, the supporters, our players, our coaches and everybody, our referees and administrators, for the patience you have shown making our game the wonderful game it has become. And I want you also to thank our Football Review Committee, led by the incredible chair, Jim Gavin, for what they have done to make this game the best field sport in the world. Goramahagan. To Donegal, I know you will be disappointed. You have won 2 Ulster titles in a row. And I think it would be remiss of me if I didn't mention a man who played his 89th championship match today. That is Michael Murphy. He owes this county nothing. He is the best player ever to come from your county, and we should all be proud to have watched that man play. What an incredible legend he has been for Donegal. But for the 39th time, Sam Maguire is going to the Kingdom. And in singling out one man, today I want to mention your manager, Jack O'Connor, who won his first All-Ireland 21 years ago and has won his 5th All-Ireland today in 2025. In a year when we said goodbye to Mick O'Dwyer, a legend of Kerry management, perhaps it's now time to talk of Micko and Jacko in the same breath. And now to your captain, a man who I presented the Allianz Trophy to only a few months ago, a man who won All-Ireland here with his club, Dr. Croke, in 2017, a Moon Chore who gives his free time after school to coach our games with his school and with his club. If privileged more do some, or look at coming out that scale, Corn, Sam Maguire, our Brunnu, our captain Kerry, Gavin White.
Kerry won the league under Jack O'Connor. Now they've won the All-Ireland. We've seen that song before. The honour of collecting Sam Maguire belongs to Gavin White of Dr. Croke's. Kerry, the champions for the 39th time.
Tá ná or manú Curran seo ghlacha sa Ferry Kerry. It is an absolute honour to be able to accept the Sam Maguire Cup on behalf of the incredible bunch of Kerry players, management, backroom team and Kerry supporters far and wide. I want to first of all pay tribute to Donegal and an absolute magnificent bunch of players led by an incredible backroom team and management. Today was not your day. I know exactly how you feel in this present moment, but you're a credit to your families, clubs and the county of Donegal. I have no doubt you'll bounce back in 2026 and we look forward to many more Tuscans in the future. I wish to acknowledge Brendan Cawley and all today's match officials on a fine performance. Thanks for everything you've done throughout the 2025 campaign. I would like to also thank the staff at Croke Park for world-class facilities here today. Thanks to your work, Croke Park is a very special place to come and is one of the best stadiums in the world. Thanks for everything you do behind the scenes. I would like to congratulate and honour the Jubilee team of 2000 who was before match day, an outstanding group of Kerry men who left the jersey behind the better place for Kerry Keens to come in the future. We are delighted to be able to follow in your footsteps today. On behalf of the players, management and backroom team, I wish to express our thanks to our sponsors Kerry Group, Catherine Keogh and Edmund Scallon for the sponsorship throughout the years. It's an absolute honour to be able to represent such a world-class organisation and to be able to lift the Sam Maguire Cup today, represent the Kerry Group, is a fitting representation for the standards you hold. I wish to acknowledge the role of the Kerry County Board, its officers and staff, led by Peter Twiss and the great Patrick O'Sullivan, whose positive work and support for Kerry team is much appreciated. To all the clubs in Kerry, we thank you for your work that you invested in all the players past and present. A special word of thanks to my own club, Dr. Croke's, for the honour bestowed on me today as the captain of the Kerry team in 2025. To our partners and families, it is your sacrifice and support that enable us to show up for Kerry year after year. We cannot thank you enough for being there for us in the good days and bad. We look forward to celebrating with you in the coming hours, days, weeks and months ahead. To the players, an incredible bunch of Kerry people. When questions are asked of you throughout the year, you came up with the answers. When things weren't looking so good, we stuck together and never gave up. You're an absolute credit to you as an individual, your families, clubs and Kerry. Kerry's win today would not be possible without an incredible backroom team and management team. Our logistical team, Gerard Mahoney, Brendan Griffin, Colin Whelan, our stats team, Colin Trainer, Cian O'Connor, our nutritionist, John Diney O'Connor, our incredible medical team, Jimmy Galvin, Paddy McQueen, Harry O'Neill, Kieran Slarty, Mike Finnerty and John Rice, our coaching team, Arthur Fitzgerald, Brian Kelly, Kyle Sheridan, Jason McGann, Mark Evans and Pam McCarthy, and our selectors, Aidan McGart, Cian O'Neill and James Costa. Lads, thanks for everything you do in the background. You really pushed us out here, and we can't wait to celebrate each and every one of you. Last but not least, the man that makes it all click together. He has led numerous Kerry teams into battle in the past, and today wins his 5th All-Ireland title as Kerry senior manager. Our banished star, the one and only Jack O'Connor. Lastly, to our own Kerry supporters, the ones looking down us from above, scattered across the globe, at home in the kingdom, and especially the ones here in Croke Park today, we are most grateful for the miles you've travelled, the prayers you've said and the candles lit. Don't ever underestimate the impact you've had in the Kerry team in the past and the Kerry team today. When we needed you most this year, you backed us in your thousands. Your voice was heard and you drove this Kerry team over the line. I hope you celebrate Sam Maguire number 39 as much as we do, and we can't wait to celebrate in Rathmore 3 at Kerry tomorrow. Kerry boo!
7 days ago, we saw a captain give a real captain's performance in an All-Ireland senior final. Lee Keegan, have we seen that again?
Today it's one of the all-time great half-back displays from Gavin White. It wasn't so long ago against Dublin he had the mistake, and to come back in that manner to produce the performance he did. He set the tone in the first half, he set the tone in the second half. He was absolutely instrumental, and you're on about a captain's role. He did it from minute to the last day, so exceptional performance.
Tomas can't stop smiling.
I'm telling you, Joanne, it's actually a sweet one. I think if you talk to Jack Connor after it, he'll say it's probably his sweetest of all. They were written off, but the performance and the manner of which they've improved from game to game, and it's no disrespect, it's actually a compliment to the Ulster teams, but it'll mean a lot to Kerry people that it was 3 Ulster teams they beat in the quarter-final, semi-final and final because of what Ulster have achieved. We've had a new year of Gaelic football, and I think we have our game back, and it's fitting to see. They were absolutely outstanding from start to finish on every aspect. I think the biggest bit of credit I can give to them is that the strength that Donegal have, every strength, Michael Murphy, their running game.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you once again, but Jack O'Connor's with Damien. I don't know if Damien can hear me, but Tomas reckons, Damien, that this is Jack's sweetest All-Ireland.
Yeah, Jack, I was going to say this is your 5th All-Ireland. I know they're all brilliant in their own way. Is this the sweetest of the lot, Jack? A tactical coaching masterclass?
Yeah, well, just if you take the year as a whole, I mean, we had a lot of adversity this year. We had a lot of injuries, we lost a lot of good men. But, you know, we had a tremendous panel spirit. I heard the great man called Brian Cody talking years ago about panel spirit, and you can't beat it, you can't beat it. We had men like Mark O'Shea, Sean O'Brien, lads like that didn't think that they'd be near the team starting midfield in an All-Ireland final for Kerry. It's the stuff of dreams, so I'm delighted for them all. A massive team effort, panel effort, backroom team effort, so thrilled for them all.
Jack, Paudie Clifford was saying that the team has been together for quite some time, but it never clicked like it clicked today. Was there anything in the last few weeks, any kind of giveaway signs that you felt the lads were right at the pitch because they were from the first kick-off?
We did. I mean, we had 2 big performances here against Armagh and Tyrone. We felt that we were well tested coming into the game. Maybe the hammering that Donegal gave Meath here 2 weeks ago mightn't have done them the same amount of good that our game with Tyrone did. So we felt we were well tested. We were in great shape leaving the hotel this morning. There was a great atmosphere in the room, just a great anticipation, ready for battle, and the boys fought in their backs out there.
You knew in your heart to heart, so something good was coming. From Shane Ryan's kickouts, he can go left or right, but Gavin White, Joe O'Connor, they really took the game to Donegal in the first few minutes, Jack. What were the other key pointers that got you through to a 10-point victory, which is incredible to say?
Well, there was times when Donegal looked like they were coming back. I think that 2-pointer before half-time was a massive score by David. That was a massive fill-up going in at half-time. That put us 7 up. And, you know, we said to each other in the dressing room that, you know, wouldn't happen. What happened Cork last weekend wasn't going to happen to us. We were going to come out and play, and we were going to try and win the second half. And we did win the second half by 3 points. So, overall, 2 good halves.
Jack, a final question for you. You were 9 points up at one stage. They did claw back to 4. What was the kind of thinking? Yourself and Keane, I looked over, there was no panic on the sideline. You know each other inside out, but what was your message there to the lads to go and settle it again?
We just need to get our hands on ball, use up the clock and get a good shot off. And obviously near the end we were able to enjoy the last 3 or 4 minutes after Joe got the goal, but just thrilled for them all. I mean, you know, this was a tough all year now. I have to say, you know, there was times when we were well tested this year, but delighted now that it finished like it did.
Well done, Jack. Congratulations. Back to you, Joanne. Well done.
Well, that's some interview from Jack O'Connor as well, and isn't it funny, Lee Keegan, to hear all these messages coming through. He is currently giving Joe O'Connor a nice big shake of the hand too.
He's not even tired.
He's not even tired. Sure, he did hardly anything. The good news is he can't really hear what I'm saying, which is good too. While Joe gets a little bit wired up there to have a chat with us, here we go. Joe O'Connor, can you hear me?
Yeah.
You can, there you go. Lee Keegan wants to know why it is that you don't look in any way tired.
I am. Definitely wasn't the first half anyway. But, this crowd just gives you an unbelievable lift. We're living off momentum there in the second half, and we just kept kicking on, dealing with the setbacks, and it was just unbelievable. What a day.
This is real special. And the year you've had, injuries, people question you. It must just feel like it must solidify one of your all-time great performances in All-Ireland finals. Well,
100%. You know, like a lot of this group has lost a good few All-Ireland finals, like in the last big game. So we wanted to right wrongs, and setbacks throughout the year as well. And we just kept going at it, kept showing up in training, kept learning, and I'm just so proud of everyone. Like, because you know, a couple of weeks ago we were completely written off, and now we're All-Ireland champions.
Joe, there was a lot of talk before the game about Sean Patton's kickouts, and not only do Donegal win a lot of them, but they get scores from a lot of them. It looked as if Kerry did a bit of homework on that.
Yeah, you know, like, because they're so defensive and they set up so well, we saw it as an opportunity to maybe go at them, and we tried to relish it. Really, you know, they wouldn't be able to have so much bodies back after a kick out, so we just tried our best to be brave with it, go at them straight away after it. But yeah, it was a good enough job.
Joe, sorry, there's a fella trying to steal your limelight here beside, but just no, you stay here by all means. David Clifford, and is this Ogie beside you? Hi, Ogie. Hi. Congratulations. It's absolutely fascinating listening to Joe, listening to your brother, listening to Jack about what this means to the entire group to all pull together like that.
Yeah, look, I suppose we obviously won the All-Ireland here in 22 with a lot of that team, and maybe we fall into the trap then of thinking it's going to happen every year. Personally dealing with the disappointment at 23, and then obviously last year we're losing out to Armagh as well, so we put a massive emphasis on getting back here this year. Interesting though, without ever actually mentioning the All-Ireland this year, one performance at a time is what we said. We tried to stick to it, and obviously then we had to kind of re-evaluate after the Meath game, but Jesus, we'd be massively proud of how we came back after that Meath game, to be honest.
David, Paddy spoke in his interview after about feeling disrespected. Was that just Paddy, or was that a team thing? Did that your motivation coming in, did the team feel that way?
Absolutely. Look, I don't think anyone goes out to read articles or anything like that, but they get to you. Look, let's be honest about it. You know, you get sent something or someone mentions something to you. Obviously no one likes it, but it's no good either feeling sorry for yourself. Oh, why are they saying that about us? You have to go out and prove that they're wrong. And to be honest, as good as our last two performances were, if we didn't get over the line today, it would have been all for nothing, so we're just delighted we did.
Can I ask the two of you actually a similar question, because you set up a very particular way, particularly in the first half. David pulled out to create all this space for the likes of you, Joe, to run in and take advantage. That was obviously the plan.
Yeah, you know, we just have to, the management back us to think on our feet, like, and you know, Dave is going to get a lot of attention every week, so you know, there might be two on him or something. I might be able to sneak in, and then another time it's to be a decoy to let him at it. But yeah, we tried to work well together and
have a great crack here at Ogie. I have to say, would you say it was your most complete performance this year? Just the way it fell together on the last day of the year. It felt that way looking in on the sheet.
I suppose so. Look, the first half we couldn't have probably went that much better. I know we missed a couple of twos, but you'd be very proud then as well. I think they got it back to 4. They were really putting a big press on our kick out. I just remember Paddy getting a point there. Gav White won a break and slipped it to Paddy. He was away. They're huge scores. Like they just give the rest of the team such a lift. So today probably was the best performance. Yeah, thankfully.
Joe, I just want to ask you, because the last time Kerry were here and winning the All Ireland, him on his way to winning his first of we don't know how many Footballer of the Year awards. He's going to have a bit of competition this year, though. The difference back then, when you were the captain, but because of injury and whatnot, you didn't really get to lift it with Shawnee. The difference to not only perform like that today, but to be so pivotal to what Kerry have done all this year. What is that like?
Yeah, I suppose you have to bide your time, like, and the management really back you and want you to express ourselves. So it's just been unbelievable here.
I'd say let these
Go,
lads
go. Congratulations to Joe O'Connor and to David Clifford on an absolutely incredible performance, an incredible All-Ireland win. Congratulations to little Ogie as well, getting one of his earliest samples of All-Ireland final day here at Croke Park. We have so much more analysis to come, more reaction to come as well to the 39th victory in an All-Ireland for Kerry.
Here's your chance to win the ultimate trip to the Big Apple, New York City. You and a friend will fly in style in business class with Aer Lingus, and with daily flights to New York from Dublin and Shannon, it's never been easier. Check out airlingus.com. You'll stay 4 nights in the Liam Neeson penthouse suite at the 4-star Fitzpatrick Grand Central Hotel, where a warm Irish welcome awaits. It's located in the heart of Manhattan and just steps away from some of New York's iconic attractions. More on fitzpatrickshotels.com. And so you can experience top-class entertainment, dining and shopping. There's $2,000 spending money too. For your chance to win, answer this question. Galway faced Armagh in the 2024 All-Ireland Senior Football Final, but which of these is the current Galway manager? Is it Pádraig Joyce, Desi Farrell or Jack O'Connor? To enter, call 15 17 71 71 74 or text the word GAME followed by your answer and name to 57886. Maximum cost per entry is €2.50. You must be over 18 to enter. Lines will close at midday on Monday, August 11th. Full details are on rte.ie/competitions, where the lucky winner will also be revealed.
Whether or not it was as sweet as Jack O'Connor wasn't entirely sure, but it is one that the Kingdom are going to savour. And as Eamon Fitzmaurice did remind us, they do have a tendency to win the ones that have a bit of history about them. This one certainly does, played under a brand new set of rules, and yet we get the same team ranked top as we have seen so many times down through history. Well, we have a quick look at how they did it then. So one of the very first things we know that Pádraig said in his interview was about, again, he references one-man team nonsense. You were keen to say it before the match, you were keen to say it at half-time, that it was going to be all the other players around David Clifford who were going to get them over the line.
Yeah, I think there was huge pressure on David Clifford to perform, and again, as usual, he performed. He's the greatest we've seen. But the other players who've consistently shown up, Joe O'Connor was absolutely outstanding, Brian Begley was absolutely outstanding, Gavin White was absolutely outstanding, Pádraig Clifford was brilliant. But then, Joanne, you look at the way I spoke about there, how they took Donegal's strength. Donegal have been outstanding in these positions all year long. But come towards the end of the game, the last 15, 20 minutes of the game, they defended so hard. Peter referenced it before. They don't get enough credit for how physical, how hungry, how tenacious they are. And I think they've improved game on game. Like, nobody be talking about Paul Murphy, Dylan Casey, Graham Sullivan. They were outstanding today, every single one of them. They're blocking, they're harrying. And I was confident today that if we controlled a lot of the kickouts, which we did, and matched it with this hunger and other lads coming to the fore, we would win. I didn't expect David to play so well, but that's just there's so much pressure on his shoulders constantly. It's just a sign of the man. Joe O'Connor, like, he was standing here with the interviews. He said to me when he came over, he says, Jesus, will you make sure I just get out for the lap of honour? It means so much. There's a lot of them here for their first time. Joe missed the last time with injury. He's had a whale of a season. Obviously, you have the genius of David that could trump everything. But there's so many fellas here, Joanne, today that have grown throughout the season, and that was their best performance today.
For me, Cian O'Neill has had a huge influence in that team as well. Cian O'Neill has been massive since he come in. And you're on about all the credit always goes to Jim for being tactically so mastermind. They completely outplayed and outsmarted Donegal from minute one. You're on about trying to change things up. 2 midfielders inside, Clifford comes out. Simple move, but Donegal never reacted to it because I felt they could never adapt when things were so different.
But every single thing that was thrown at them, Joanne, since that Meath game, everything, but they've answered it.
We said before the game, we all expected it to be cagey.
Yeah.
And Kerry went at it from the start, and nobody typified that more than Gavin White. I thought he was brilliant. Superb.
But Peter,
from the
one
start.
thing also teams need to learn against Kerry, zonal defence doesn't work. because they've blitzed the 3 Ulster teams, suppose the best 3 Ulster teams, zonally, and absolutely clipped 3 of them.
I was getting a little bit concerned for some of your old teammates there, Tomas, but in the meantime, you called it, was it one of the all-time great half-pipe performances today?
Sensational. From minute 1, he set the tone in everything he did. This is on the very first play. When you want to do something different, look at the speed he comes into that breaking ball at, and they get a score after 13 seconds. If you're trying to lay a marker then early, that's what a captain role does. Lays Dylan Guinea. Guinea again, support cast, hits 3 points today when at the crucial time. Again, look at Gavin White here, holds his width. Then he identifies he's a one-on-one and goes straight through the gap, and because he has such pace and such power, he clips over the bar. Again, that's the second score of the game, so he's involved in the first 2 or third score of the game. He's involved with 3 early scores. Again, look at his position here from a breaking ball, clips it up, and he did this all day, Joanne, and he just goes direct at Donegal time and time again.
I was going to say,
he's been a boss under breaking ball all year. You look back at the stats, it's the stats that's going to come back into it, his breaking ball. It's so vital, but he has been the main man.
And this year again, when nothing else is on, he backs himself, puts the afterburners on, and clips over his 3rd point. 3 points against the Donegal team. That is savage.
And also, Lee, what we see here, when they needed, I think it was down to 4 points at that stage. Donegal starting to come to terms with the middle of the pitch. Short kick out. Who does Ryan go to? Gavin White. So it wasn't a lot of them clips is about him going forward and setting up scores and all the rest, but defensively as well, he performed really well.
I know you did want to talk about the influence of Paddy in particular, as well as David. No, we don't have time for that, and to get in a word on Donegal, and we probably should talk a little bit about Donegal, especially given that Jim McGuinness kept referencing about the reason 2014 was so disappointing is because they didn't perform. They didn't go out there and perform.
Yeah.
What about today?
Well, just on the 2 Cliffords, between them they scored 13 points. Tomas might have said Paddy didn't play, or David didn't play that well. He scored 9 points.
No, he didn't say that.
Excuse me. Excuse me. I said it's a mark of the man to come up with all the pressure. He played outstanding.
I thought he was all right.
He's not a bad footballer.
From Jim McGuinness's point of view, when he reflects, why did Donegal not go out and play the way Donegal did at the start of the game? They were 12-4 down after 15 minutes, and they didn't really look as if they were going to get it to a point.
They needed to get something in that 3rd quarter, Peter, and they didn't get it then either. They got a few scores. They needed something big. They needed a 2-pointer or a goal or something. It just never happened.
He was bringing men on and trying this and trying that, brought on McBrearty, McGee and all the rest, but they just couldn't close the gap down, and every time they looked as if they did, Kerry had the quality to hit them on the counter.
And we should have the last word to the Kerry man and on Kerry, especially given you now I've sorely missed Mick O'Dwyer. Jack O'Connor is now only behind Mick O'Dwyer and the man who was with us standing in that spot a little bit earlier on, Jim Gavin, in terms of successes in the All-Ireland stage.
Yeah, it is a special day in terms of the Dwyers and Waterville and everything. That it was a tough year on them, but Jack has answered all his critics, Joanne. There's no other way of putting it. And it's not really critics, it's that they're so passionate about there, they just get personal about it, and that's just the way it's always been. But to win in 2004 and in 2025, not too many do it.
I don't think anybody has done it that length of time. And it is an appropriate evening for Hell for Leather to come to its conclusion here on RT1 from 7:30. Then we'll be chatting with some All-Ireland champions at the Winning Hotel, revealing Man of the Match and Team of the Year with Jackie and a cast of thousands on the Sunday game from 9:30. For now, thank you to Peter, to Lee and to Tomas, all the players and managers who helped us out, and all our very, very, very busy and hard-working team here on the Sunday game. On All-Ireland final day, we were reminded both on and off the pitch, it's probably best not to write off Kerry. Goodbye.